It's great to be a Dog.
And I'm so proud of our team. I can't wait for Saturday.
On a cold Saturday afternoon in Athens, there are warm hearts, warm hands, and everyone excited and ready for what is going to be a celebration of a season unlike any other. A Georgia football team that cruised through the regular season only to be upended in the SEC championship game by Alabama finds solace, finds victory, finds redemption in the cold of Indianapolis and wins the national championship. The first time in 40 years. And today, a parade like nothing else that you have seen. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jeff Hullinger, and for the next 3 hours, we have you covered right here. From Atlanta, from Athens, and everywhere else. A celebration, as everybody may be concerned about looming snow and troubling winter weather. But today, the focus is on Georgia football and the celebration of a team that had an amazing year in the SEC and really was the best team all season long in the United States. But there was great concern after the SEC game where things certainly did not go well here in Atlanta, but the redemption again in Indianapolis changed all of that. A 14-1 mark overall, 8-0 in the SEC, and the 14 games won by the Bulldogs set the record for the most wins in a single season in school history. We have some live pictures for you right now to give you an overview of what we can expect. Sanford Stadium right there as the masses are beginning to assemble outside. There will be a celebration and a ceremony inside the stadium that will take part at about 2 o'clock this afternoon and will go for an hour. We have you covered in Athens, and we begin our coverage and our team action with Maria Martin, who is set and ready to go. Maria, it's all yours.
Jeff, good morning. This is a celebration 41 years in the making. There are dogs barking. There are people just so excited to be here. As you can imagine, this is such an incredible moment for Athens. It's only happened 2 other times in the history of this program. They are ready. I have seen fans piling in since I got here bright and early at 9:30 this morning. I even saw a couple of people pass me not too long ago look around and say, man, I'm just taking it all in. This is just an incredible moment for not just the city of Athens, the town of Athens, but for everyone. Alumni, for former players, former coaches, everyone who has laid the foundation and started to build something truly special here. It's obviously going to be an incredible day. I can't wait for you guys to see everything we have planned for you. We're going to take you through the ups and the downs of the Georgia season, mostly ups because here we are lifting a national championship trophy in Athens today. It is crowded, but everyone is pumped. I don't even know if I can describe it any other way. And it's funny because I've been telling people for a long time. I covered Alabama for 3 years, and all of those national championships that I saw with the Crimson Tide were totally different. In Indianapolis, I saw tears. I saw people, grown men, women, you name it. Everyone was just bawling, crying. There were kids. You can see just different cars lining the streets right now in Athens. This is something to truly cherish, and I think we got to get used to this around here because this is the second championship parade we've covered in less than 2 months, and the city of Athens deserves it. There's a different vibe. I don't know how to describe it other to you than electric. There are Dogs fans everywhere. You can just, when you look around and you can see the people behind me looking at everything, waiting to see these players, waiting to welcome them back inside Sanford Stadium. There's going to be a parade. We'll talk about that in a second, but there will be a parade. Then there will be a dog walk, which will be incredibly exciting. Then inside Sanford Stadium, these guys, these national champions, will be honored as they should. This is a day that everyone has been waiting for. Jeff, you talked about the looming winter weather. Nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about the snow that's coming in. You're going to have to, so pay attention to our weather team for that. But for now, enjoy this day, a day that this team is so deserving of. Finally, they get past Alabama. We will dive all into the season that was incredibly special. Kirby Smart's first as a head coach. He will be honored just like everybody else. We have a very awesome thing that's happening today. We talk about the parade and the beginning of the parade. Kristen Crowley is out there among the masses. All those Bulldog fans are out there. And Kristen, I know it's crowded, but what are you seeing out there from Bulldog Nation?
Yeah,
Man, what a day to be a Georgia Bulldogs fan. We got out here about 3 hours ago or so, and there were already people here waiting for this parade to start, which has yet to start, by the way, but that's probably good because people are still funneling in. Diehard fans. Look at the street just across from me, flooded with people. And like I was saying, Maria, it was 9 o'clock in the morning. People were already camped out here, ready for their spot. And here they are getting ready for this parade to really ramp up. They have been patiently waiting, just like many people have been patiently waiting for a championship from this team. I got a friend over here, Selena. She is a UGA student. How long have you been out here today?
I've been out here for about an hour now. Not too cold. We can do it.
Some of you people blow my mind because no coats. Maybe it's the college, the youth in you, but there is so much excitement here. Why was it important for you to be here today for this parade?
I really wanted to support my Dogs. I mean, it's not every year we win a national championship, but when you beat Bama like that, you have to come out and celebrate.
Yeah, this meant a great deal to the fans. And then tell me about the crowds. Have you ever seen Athens look like this?
On game days, it's so electric, but here in the winter, everybody with their beanies, it's such a special moment. It's really awesome to be here today.
Selena, thanks so much. I mean, she's right. You know, the love for this team really runs deep. You'll see this on game day, but not too often we see this on a cold January day. So we are so excited for this parade to get started. It should be ramping up here any moment now. We'll be giving you live looks as soon as it does. But for now, Maria, I want to send it back to you for more coverage on this really special day for Georgia Bulldogs fans.
You hear her?
Kristen, great job out there. I know you got a lot of people out there around you, so be safe. We're excited about the start of the parade, but until we get back to Kristen and to Joe Ripley, who is also along the parade route, I got two very special guests with me today. We have some former Bulldogs that'll be hanging with me all throughout our coverage. To my right, your left, we have Hudson Mason, who is a former Bulldogs quarterback, and then we got Arthur Lynch, a former Bulldog tight end, two of the guys that have been with the program, and they will give you perspectives like none other. Hudson, I'm going to start with you. This is obviously an incredible day for Athens. What do you think it means to Georgia fans?
Oh, boy, I don't know if I can put it in words, right? 41 years of pent-up emotion. There you go, right there. Go Dogs, man. And so, I mean, you got to think about the amount of people and generations. I think that's what makes college football unique, right, is a lot of people here as grandpas and grandmas and moms and dads have had season tickets for years and generations, and they've been coming to games since the early 80s and the 70s, and there's so many memories with this place. And so I think you're talking about a lot of generations that are finally celebrating today.
And finally, to get past Alabama, I think we'll get into that, especially with you. That probably feels a lot better. And Arthur, you also bring a really unique perspective because you played for the Dogs as well. What was the emotion like when you finally saw Georgia lift another national championship trophy?
Yeah, I think it was more of just a feeling of satisfaction. You know what I mean? Like, and mostly for the players. Hudson mentioned kind of the frustration of the fans, but I mean, when you're a player, it's magnified like times 10 because you put so much effort in, you put so much time in, and like really emotionally you're so invested. So to kind of see. And obviously for Stetson, but for all the guys, you just kind of see it's like a weight off their shoulders. And then for guys like Hudson and myself, who obviously had lost to Alabama, who have been kind of at the highest of highs and really the lowest and darkest lows. I know as a former player, it was just kind of at peace and satisfaction for sure.
So you guys have already brought up Alabama. I don't care who answers first. Do you think it's that much better that this national championship?
Yeah, let me stop you there. Yeah. It's like maybe if somebody offered you like $10 million or $10 billion, you'll still take $10 million, but $10 billion is better.
You feel the same way.
Yeah. One of our former teammates got him, Colin Houston, said something before the SEC championship game. He goes, in order to be the man, you got to beat the man.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really – obviously, in this case, it meant that much more. If you talk about the bad blood between the two teams and just like the soul, like crushing losses that we've had in Alabama, it had to be them. It really did.
Should I bring up the soul crushing loss like right off the bat here, or should we?
I mean, it's gonna get brought up.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with that then, because you guys were on that SEC championship team for Alabama, where you guys almost had it. The pass is what people keep bringing up to Aaron Murray, where time expired. Georgia, really, you were a part of that final drive, right?
Oh yeah.
You were the play before, I think. Is that right? Great memories, but we're going to bring it up. When you look back on that game, what's your initial emotion?
Again, I know for probably Hudson as well, it's like, even though the outside noise, we're supposed to ignore it. And Coach Bobo would always do a really good, hey, ignore the noise. you feel a sense of responsibility to deliver, not just for the university and your teammates, but really the entire state. It's the flagship university. These people are obviously super emotionally invested. So it's like, it's like a feeling of letdown, right? Obviously, you play to win the game. We're all very competitive people who play at this level, and it's just I know I felt like I let down, my teammates, but also I feel like we let down the university. So the fact that we're able to come back and these guys did not do that, and they represented the state and the university and obviously the past players and future ones, I thought it was pretty special.
I think this is a really interesting perspective. I want to stick with that for a second, and Hudson asked you the same thing because, all throughout the season, a lot of these Georgia players on this current team were talking about how they didn't want to put the weight of the Georgia fan base on their shoulders. Stetson even himself said that he didn't feel like it was his entire responsibility to make sure that Georgia wins a national championship. Did you feel that pressure as a player?
I think there's always a level of pressure when you're the starting quarterback at Georgia,
Sure.
I don't think any quarterback specifically or any player goes into a season and says, hey, the pressure's all on me to deliver a 41-year drought or end a 41-year drought. But you're aware that it's there, right?
Yeah.
And you start the year talking about your expectations, and a team meeting always started with let's get to the SEC title game. If we get to Atlanta, then we should have a shot at getting to the national title. So, I guess I have a soft spot in my heart for Stetson and his story, and as a former quarterback, just the amount of pressure not only as you to play that position, but your family too. Nobody ever thinks about the pressure on your family and the ups and downs that they have to go throughout a season as well.
It's actually funny because I talked to Denise Bennett a lot here throughout their run, and she said specifically it's been really difficult on her family and her kids because, you guys probably weren't as prevalent with social media, I guess, when you were playing. It was probably just coming out when you guys were playing. Now everything is instant. Twitter, Instagram. So they're messaging Stetson's sisters, his brothers, his parents. I mean, that's a lot of pressure as a player.
Yeah, again, these fans are passionate.
We'll just say that.
That's a good way to put it.
I was not the quarterback. I lived with Aaron. Obviously, Hudson and I are friends and we're teammates, and you see the pressure that's on these guys. It's insane.
Yeah.
And it's it's a fraternity within the fraternity for these guys. But my family was in Massachusetts, so if I dropped a pass, and no one cares about Georgia football in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. You know what I mean?
Not necessarily for him or the other guys, but yeah.
You think about the family, right? You think it was one of 5 or 4, and it's like they're small town. It's not like they're in big Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
They're in South Georgia where the passion of the fans is even that much more.
Yeah.
And for him to deliver and for him to play well and ultimately put kind of like the stamp of the approval at the end of the game in order to win, I know how much it meant to him, but for his family too, his ticket is made.
Yeah.
He's a legend in the state for forever.
Forever.
And well-deserved, for sure.
And, the nickname, the mailman, he ultimately delivered in the national championship game. You guys, in the first half of the game, I will admit it, I thought it was boring because it was just a bunch of defensive stands and a bunch of field goals. But then Stetson really got into a rhythm. They gave him some of those short passes to kind of get him comfortable in the offense. And then he really delivered. I mean, there were some really incredible throws that he made in the second half of the championship game.
Yeah, and specifically you think about after the turnover there in the third quarter where Alabama got the ball in the short field.
Yeah.
Georgia's defense holds them to a field goal, which was huge. But then after that, I think Stetson ends up going 4 for 4 for 2 touchdowns for about 83 yards. And the way he delivered and responded right there, and then obviously ended up throwing the touchdown pass on the false start penalty to A.D. Mitchell. I mean, your quarterback at some point is going to have to make a couple big throws to win the game. And going back to the Orange Bowl against Michigan or against Alabama in the second half, when they called his number, he made some big-time throws.
Especially that one to George Pickens is the one that stands out in my mind. I was like, all right, there's George Pickens. We've been waiting for him. There's that big throw from Stetson. Did you get a sense, Arthur, after halftime that Georgia was really going to start to put something together?
People thought I was crazy, but everyone at work all week, my family, I was like, we're going to win 10+.
You told me the week before. I think it was like right out. I texted you and I said, what do you think? And you said, I'm about as sure as I have been in a long time.
After we got taught a lesson in Atlanta, I was like, it's incredibly hard to beat a team twice. You see it in the NFL all the time.
Yeah.
A defense like we have. So I knew if the offense just made plays in key moments that they're going to be all right. But, to Hudson's point, it doesn't matter what the end stats are for quarterbacks. If you make the key plays at the right moment, and your receivers execute and the offensive line, blocks, and everyone is doing their job, and they execute well, all it takes is a couple, and they'll forget, the interceptions. They'll forget the bad throws because ultimately, when the game's on the line and he has the opportunity to make a play, he made the play. And obviously they won. And so I think for Stetson, it doesn't matter what he looked like in other games. All it matters when his number was called, he delivered.
Can you guys talk about something for a second? Because the entire season long, there was a quarterback controversy. It was JT Daniels, JT gets hurt, Stetson comes in, and then it's why is it Stetson the whole time? When you're hearing this outside noise so much, should you start him, should you not? Not just for the quarterback, Arthur, I'll ask you the same thing. How is it possible to kind of block that out and focus?
I don't think you can 100% block it out. I mean, there's just no way. You'll hear coaches and players talk about, we drowned out the outside noise, but this day and age with social media, it's impossible. And Stetson Bennett had a flip phone, right? And I mean, right. And I thought
that's something you would do, maybe.
What was crazy is after the SEC title game, he came out and said, he's like, I know this fan base doesn't want me as a starting quarterback. Like, that's insane to think that, like, a guy would say that, or a guy would know that too. So at times I think he was turned into the villain, and he shouldn't have been this year. His story is incredible, and he completely overachieved since the day, and has overachieved since the day that he stepped on campus. But him and Coach Smart get the ultimate last laugh because there were a lot of people questioning Coach Smart as well, that he was making the right decision. And a lot of people thought that JT should have been playing and should have been starting, and Georgia wasn't going to win a title unless JT was a quarterback. And, Coach Smart just kept saying, we're playing Stetson because of X, Y, Z. And it is one of the cooler moments in sports in terms of just a guy or guys getting the last laugh.
I love that. All right, guys, we got a lot more to break down. I could talk about this all day, honestly. And just so you know, I think coaches actually know what they're doing, to your point. I think people kind of forget that sometimes. Yeah, for sure. Okay, you guys, we're just about to get started with this parade. Kristen Crowley, we're going to get back to you. The Dogs are going to be coming through here. Kristen, what does it look like, and can you see anything yet?
Yes. Well, so no, not yet. Fans are eagerly awaiting for this parade to get started. But here's the thing. They've waited 40 years for a championship. They're going to wait a little bit longer for the parade. They can handle it. And the crowd just seems to keep building. So I want you to take a look over here on the streets that we are parked at right now. This is where the parade is going to start. And it is just a sea of people. Just standing here, all I see are heads. Just as far as you can see, people standing on hills, people standing on top of the hoods of their cars, just trying to make sure they get a good view. Now, from the last time I talked to you, police actually came here, University of Georgia Police, to make sure these roads are blocked off and cleared because they want to make sure this parade can get through here. And the route is going to be coming down this road and then hanging a right, and you can't see it because it's so far down, but there are just, the crowds continue. The sea of people continues. It is just an unbelievable turnout here for what, has been a pretty unbelievable team with an unbelievable season. So we're really excited to get things started here. I believe that we should be getting the parade underway here at any moment. We are standing by eagerly waiting for that to happen. And just a quick mention also, again, about the weather and the temperature out here. It is chilly. Multiple people here without any coats. I don't know how they're doing it, but I guess the love for their team is keeping them warm out here in Athens. So beautiful time. And I see some people running to spots too because they're not going to let people cross the street anymore once this parade gets underway. So they got to find their spot. If you're not out here yet and you want to come to the parade, good luck because it is just jam-packed out here, and also good luck for parking. A lot of people walking out here. So yeah, a beautiful day, a little chilly, but really it's a great day to celebrate the Bulldogs. So Maria, looking forward to getting you the parade as soon as it comes down here. We'll have much more in a few minutes.
Kristen, great job. I know that it is a tough scene out there, but there's a lot of people anxiously awaiting the start of the parade. And until we get there, we're going to wrap things up here. We'll be right back. We got a lot more from these two guys and everybody along the parade route as well. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We are getting ready for the parade to start. We're probably about 10 minutes away from it to actually get kicked off here in Athens. This is a championship celebration, 41 years in the making. The town of Athens, Bulldog Nation, everybody around the country that cheers for Georgia couldn't be more excited for this day to happen. And I can tell you from experience from the Braves parade, it's going to be epic. It's such an exciting day. You can feel the buzz in the atmosphere. There are families, there are parents, kids, grandparents. Everybody is here in Athens today to welcome the champions back to Sanford Stadium. I got a peek inside Sanford Stadium a little bit earlier. It is set up, it is ready to go, and we are ready to go right outside. You can see just behind me, there is the stadium. And Jeff, this is just about as exciting as it gets. You and I were out at the Braves parade, but this feels just about like the magnitude of that, except I'm a little bit more immersed in it this time than I was outside of the ballpark for the Braves.
Well, it certainly is a totally a different vibe as far as fan base and, you know, the meaning of all of this, I think, in Athens, you know, when you talk about the 40 years between championships, has just stirred so many hearts, you know, from one corner of the state to another. And we're looking at some of the pictures right now live along the parade route, and to give you an overview of what has been transpiring over the last 23 minutes or so, the gates opened at noon, and this parade down Lumpkin Street will go to Sanford Stadium where Maria is right now, and it is scheduled to start in about 7 minutes, and then the dog walk will commence in about 37 minutes at 1 o'clock, and then the formal program again at the stadium will commence at 2. It will go an hour from 2 to 3. All of the tickets have been complimentary, and they have been available to season ticket holders and students. And then the remaining tickets have been available to the general public, and they have been available since Thursday and gobbled up by so many people. But this is about families today, as you will see along the route, those familiar ubiquitous hats and Georgia Bulldog hoodies. And this is something that, you know, is near and dear to the hearts of so many people in this state. There's nothing like Georgia football. There just isn't. I mean, the Braves, culturally, certainly in Atlanta and the state of Georgia and the region, have always been such a huge deal here since 1966. But there is nothing like Georgia football when it's going good. And even when it's not going good, it is the one subject that is talked about 24/7. There may be other cities, other regions where the NFL reigns supreme, but not in this state. It has always been about the Georgia Bulldogs. It has always been about the SEC. And college football reigns supreme here. It's a reason why you see the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, and it is why you are seeing a parade of this magnitude transpiring today in Athens. But, you know, we've got reporters along the route, and we have Maria Martin along with her Georgia Bulldog posse as they are outside Sanford Stadium right now. That is an overview, a high-up view from a chopper right now, and you can see people lining the streets. Again, we're about 5 minutes away from the parade beginning. Maria?
Yeah, Jeff, you talked about how this is a day for all of these families out here. I can tell you, you know, I'm an SEC grad. I've covered the SEC ever since I got into this business. This is such a monumental day. It always is whenever there's an SEC champion. But you talked about how there was a 41-year drought. It means so much more to this Georgia fan base. They've been hungry for it for so long. And over the history and the course of this football team, ever since they won the last one in 1980, there have been several teams that maybe should have won a national championship, got super close, but they couldn't do it. So for them to do it this year and to finally get past Alabama is absolutely incredible. You can see the fans behind me are excited. Everyone is just absolutely buzzing with excitement. I have seen people here since I got here at 8:30 this morning. There is nothing like SEC football, and there is nothing like Georgia football in the state of Georgia. Jeff, you hit it right on the head. I think ever since I got here in Atlanta, or we're in Athens, but ever since I got to Atlanta, Georgia Bulldogs were the focus of the conversation. So you know how big this day is. People have been hungry for it. They've been waiting for it. And Kristen Crowley is among all those people that are extra hungry for this championship to get started. And Kristen, we're just about ready to go here. Can you see anything yet? I know I ask you that every time I go to you, but I'm just as excited as everybody else getting ready for these Bulldogs to come through here.
I am waiting with bated breath for this parade to start, just like these fans are. It has not started yet. I see no sign. I'm going to peek over my photographer's shoulder really quick. No sign of the parade yet, but I'm sure we'll be starting here any minute soon. And I want to introduce you to another UGA Bulldogs fan. This is Lily. And Lily, you got out here pretty early today as well, securing this really elusive spot because we can't move. There are just fans everywhere. What's it like being out here today?
It's great. I'm so excited for the parade to start, but I'm even more excited to spend the rest of this semester celebrating the Dogs. I mean, the celebration doesn't end. It hasn't ended since we started last week, so we're going to keep going. I'm happy to wait. I'll wait longer.
And that's the exact vibe I'm getting from everybody here. No one's complaining. No one's saying
complaining. We're just happy the Dogs are here and we're waiting on them. That's it.
What do you think about all the people who are out here today and the crowd that you're seeing right now?
I think we got a lot of Dogs fans all over the country. I'm from California, but I love Athens. This is my favorite place in the world. And there's nowhere else I would rather be right now, and I think everybody agrees with me.
Yeah, you know, I have a feeling if that snowstorm was coming in today, you all would still be here.
Oh, we'd be here. We'd be here, but we wouldn't know how to act.
Thank you so much, Lily. Yeah, just there is so much anticipation here, and you heard her say it, Maria. They're willing to wait. They know that this has been years in the making. If it's going to take a little while, if it's going to be a little delayed, they're fine with that. But I'm hoping things kick off right on time. We see that parade coming down here off to Lumpkin Street any minute now. We'll keep you posted. We'll be here live, and we will bring it to you as soon as we see it, Maria.
I know, I'm going to ask you that every time I go to you, Kristen. You know, it's funny. Thank goodness this is a Saturday because there were kids skipping school to go to the national championship. It is just unbelievably exciting here. I got my friends back with me, Hudson Mason and Arthur Lynch, two former Bulldogs who are very familiar with the Georgia fan base. Arthur, you talked about the fan base being incredibly passionate. This is it.
Yeah, so I always had a unique perspective, I would say, because I didn't understand quite what I was getting myself into when I came to the University of Georgia.
Sure.
Boston College and the Ivy League were the biggest show in town for college football. So when I got down here, me and my family were like, what is this? You know what I mean? And we talked about a little bit about the passion, and then when you think about 40 years, and I know Hudson can say this. By the time I left Georgia, I was sick and tired of hearing 1980, and these old guys would come up with these like old rings and been like, get one of these. And I'm just like, so the fact that these guys can kind of like, that torch is finally passed, thank God. But when you talk about these fans, right? They live and breathe it. They live and breathe it, and it's. I know I understand it now. I don't know if I'll ever be as rabid, but it's the SEC, and that's why it just means more and it's different.
It's a little bit different whenever you're a player, obviously. We're getting ready to look at the start of this parade here. Interesting perspectives from both of these players who understand what this is like. Right now we have Harry, the Bulldog, it looks like, in a Corvette, or hopefully he's bundled up because it's pretty cold outside. He's in a BMW, getting this crowd pumped up, leading the parade. It looks like he's in the front of the parade. Chopper's doing a great job at getting this video for us. Several different cars lining the streets there in Athens. When you're looking at these images, Hudson, what's going through your head as a former player and someone who has been a part of Bulldog Nation as long as you have?
I think what goes through my head is just what the feeling that the players have got to be experiencing right now.
Yeah.
365 days a year. It's, Matt drills at 5 a.m. when it's 20 degrees out in the wintertime. It's in the summer when everybody else is at home, drinking a pina colada at the pool. It is a total all-in commitment. It's, the 110-yard sprints in the summertime when you're thinking about throwing up, all for this moment right here. And, they are at the pinnacle of their profession and in their industry. And not a lot of people have the opportunity in life to be able to sit atop the mountain
Sure.
and know what that feels like. And I promise you, those guys, if they did ever question it today, they're thinking, man, it was definitely worth it.
I know it's easy to kind of think that it's easy to win a national championship when you see what Nick Saban has done with college football. But guys, you guys know it is hard. It is very difficult to win a national championship. We're talking about 40 years in the making here today. Arthur, obviously these scenes, we haven't gotten the full grasp of what this looks like yet, but you've run into these fan bases, these fans all throughout your career, and now, can you imagine how emotional not only the players are, but the fans are for this moment?
Yeah, again, I just think it comes down to, for a lot of people in the state, Georgia football is their outlet, right? Saturday, it's like
Sure.
They wait all week, and it's all fall, and they love the Georgia Bulldogs. And honestly, you see it a lot in professional sports, but really in the Southeast, college football is king. And so for them to, they feel as much a part of it and as much part of this team as the players do. And I think that's, again, I mentioned it before, that's why the SEC is the best conference in America. Yeah, it's the talent. Yeah, it's the big stadiums. But, it wouldn't matter as much if it weren't for the fan bases. And obviously, they can be testy at times. But at the end of the day, I think that's what makes it special. And for them to kind of be a part of this and witness it, I mean, I'm excited for the fans as much as I'm excited for the players.
And to enjoy this moment, like Hudson talked about earlier, I mean, just look at what it looks like in Athens right now. We haven't seen crowds like this in a long time. Obviously, Sanford is packed every Saturday that there are games here, but this is unbelievable. This is so incredible when you look at how many Bulldogs fans have waited so many years. I mean, there's so many little ones that have no idea what a 40-year drought feels like, but they're excited to be in Athens today. But there's got to be parents out there that have been waiting for Georgia to win a national championship for 40 years. I saw those videos on social media, Hudson, of people just kind of letting that emotion go as soon as the clock hits zero. It's unbelievable.
I mean, the best way to describe this atmosphere here, in my opinion, is game day on steroids.
Okay.
I mean, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
These tickets sold out in the blink of an eye. There's probably going to be another 20, 30,000 fans that can't even get into the stadium today. If you planned on trying to get back to Atlanta tonight for a dinner reservation, go ahead and cancel that. There's no way you're making that. But this is what parades are all about. And if you live in Atlanta and you're a Braves and Georgia fan, how cool is this? You've been able to experience, you might have parade fatigue at this point, but that's a good thing to have, right?
It's going to be something where I think the city of Atlanta, maybe the state of Georgia, just starts to expect, are we going to become Alabama? Is this what's going to happen? Everyone's just going to expect a parade every 2 months, maybe? You guys haven't seen this ever in Athens. When you guys were playing, you haven't seen crowds like this. Is this unbelievable?
Honestly, obviously, I felt confident we were going to win the game, but when you think about after that, I think it was 2018 in the SEC Championship game when we lost. You kept thinking is it ever going to happen?
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, in the national championship too, in the national championship game.
It's still kind of surreal to say that we're having a national championship parade in Athens, and I'm personally shocked that Athens is still standing. I thought Monday night, when I saw some of the pictures, I was like, there's going to be some serious destruction to property. I'm glad my favorite places still exist.
Great.
But, tonight might be different. Who knows? There's enough people to cause some damage.
Jeff, I don't know if you can hear me right now, but we lost the feed, so I can't see the parade route. But I can tell you of the images that I did see, I saw, I think, some of the players on several different cars. I could be wrong because we've lost this feed now. But like you talked about, Arthur, I saw it. So the players are coming in on trucks right now. We'll try to get this feed up back and working. You were talking about how Athens was just rabid, I think, after the national championship game. You saw those videos.
Oh, I saw them, yeah. I'm sure some
crazy.
Parents saw their kids in them, too, going,
sure.
Not my Tommy. Not my perfect
Tommy.
son.
Not Tommy.
Is that my son Billy on top of the arch?
Yeah, and that happened. Athens looks like a totally different scene. I mean, I expected crazy, but that's what we've been talking about, is that these fans are just itching for this to happen. It happened. Congratulations. I see some of these fans out here with signs. I'll try to tell you what it is in a second. But, Kristen, I think finally we're getting some parade action here. Do you get a better sense of these fans being extra excited for this day they've waited for so long?
I'm sorry, Maria, I couldn't hear you. The fans are screaming so loud, I've lost my hearing. No, this is an amazing sense out here. Unbelievable. And I'm not joking. The screams that came when the coach came out here, just deafening. And these players are enjoying every minute of it. They came out with semi-trucks at one point, and they're all in the best of semi-trucks. I wasn't sure they were going to make the turn because the crowds here are so big. But there they are. They're just soaking up every moment of this. I love seeing the players and the people on the staff getting their own video from their own point of view. This is just an amazing event, and the fans, they could not be more excited. They were excited before it started. Amp it up times 100. It's just really incredible, and the lines keep coming. There's a fire truck coming down now. Listen to that crowd. Listen to that excitement. This is 40 years of buildup here, I think, that's coming out. Whether these fans have been around for the championship in 1980 or not, 1981, they are just so excited to be out here today. So, yeah, I think you're going to see a lot. The sound isn't even dying down. I can barely hear myself think out here with how excited everybody is. So it's really incredible. I'm going to give you some more looks now, too, as the parade people come on by. Just, Maria, I think that this is the perfect parade for everybody who is out here today. They have just been waiting for this for so long. And you can just tell on the looks of the faces of the team how proud they are, how happy they are to be doing this for the town of Athens. Yeah, so hopefully you heard that cheer there. I mean, that about sums it up. So.
All right, we are taking a look right now at the parade. As you have heard all of the cheers, you see the players here on this flatbed truck. It has been a marvelous mixture of expensive BMWs and wonderful F-150 Fords. Doesn't get much better than that, sort of a metaphor on this UGA season. And, you know, fans have really had something with UGA football over the generations. I mean, this is a great institution that has tied together so many Georgians over the decades, over the generations. And you know, the one common filament for the most part has been Georgia football, whether it's going back to the days of Wally Butts, Joel Eves, who was, you know, the athletics director who hired Vince Dooley back in 1963. And you talk about what Coach Dooley's legacy meant, not only as a football coach, but also as an athletics director, always keeping the athletic department, you know, top tier and such a central point of the university. I mean, you think about all of the really terrific Georgia football teams, and not just going back to, you know, 1980 and that national championship team, but Vince Dooley's teams all the way through the end of his football coaching career in 1989. I mean, these were really good football teams, year in, year out, that brought so much entertainment, that brought so much to the community of Athens. And this football program with Dooley, and then, you know, moving on, Ray Goff replaced him, and then it was Jim Donnan and also Mark Richt on to Kirby Smart. But it really has buoyed the university. It's improved their endowment. It's created an academic sense of excellence that we have seen that has manifested now over the years. One of the great public institutions, not only for sports in the United States, but also for academics. The academics have really been lifted by football. And it just has. A high tide lifts all ships when it comes to SEC football, and that has happened here. You know, it is such a prestigious degree to have from the University of Georgia, and it is that common thread that ties so many in our state together that they spent time in Athens. We're taking a look at Kirby Smart as he is has been waving to these crowds left and right. You see these BMWs with players and coaches inside waving to all of these fans along the parade route. And again, the dog walk is going to go on here at 1 o'clock. That's about 20 minutes away. And there's the flatbed from up top as these dogs celebrate the title. But for the most part, it has been completely choreographed as far as time goes, as far as where they are expected to be. The ceremony, which will go on inside the stadium, will happen at 2 o'clock today. So, Maria, let's go back to you for your perspective from Sanford Stadium.
Yeah, so as I'm looking at these images, Jeff, the first thing that comes to mind when I think about Kirby Smart is the fact that he was a former Georgia Bulldog himself. This has got to be just so surreal for Coach Smart, who was a defensive back in the 90s here in Athens. He met his wife in Athens, Mary Beth Smart, who I saw on the vehicle with him as well. She played basketball here. I mean, these are people who are Bulldog born and raised and bred. This has just been throughout their whole life. They've cheered for the Georgia Bulldogs, and this has got to be an incredible moment for someone who's built such a special thing so far in his very young tenure in Athens. It's something that a lot of coaches before him got close to. Mark Rick certainly had a very successful career here in Athens and got very close as well. And Kristen, I know that this is a little bit slower than what the Braves was going at, which we're grateful for, but it's been so exciting so far. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but Kristen, have you seen Kirby? Who's next?
Yeah, things have quieted down significantly here, Maria. I can hear you just fine. And yeah, we saw everybody. Everybody came down, and now the parade was much slower than we saw for the Braves, but it has ended now, and you can see the sea of people leaving to Hudson celebration. One of the people heading over there is going to be Trina. Trina, you got a great front row seat right there.
Yes.
What'd you think about the parade?
Oh, it was great. It was great. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and you've been a Dawgs fan for how long now?
Oh, for years, many years.
So you've been through the pain, you've been through the suffering, but now you're going through the joy too.
Yes, it's about time. So excited.
And when you saw the parade coming down, was it what you were expecting? Because I got to be honest, I wasn't expecting semi trucks coming down here with people all over the flatbed.
I didn't either, but hey, it was worth it. It was worth it.
What do you want everybody out there to know who missed out on this parade today about being here?
You missed a good thing because it was really nice. It was really nice. I really enjoyed myself, and just to see and meet new people and to connect. Oh, it was wonderful. It was great.
It certainly was. Still a good number of people out here. So
yes, it is.
Enjoy the celebration and go Dogs.
Yes, go Dogs! Woohoo! Yes.
So there you go. More of the fans here. So it is thinning out. I mean, I have room now. I didn't have room 5 minutes ago. We were like sardine canned in here, but they're all heading to the celebration. I know we're going to be covering the celebration too, but what a great way to start this whole thing off. It was an amazing parade. My hearing is coming back, and we're going to have a lot more coverage for you on the rest of our show today, Maria, but I know you guys have got it covered on your end, and go Dogs.
Kristen, go Dogs indeed. Congratulations for a smooth ride out there and also getting a glimpse of the parade like we did it for the Braves. Guys, that was so exciting to watch. I know that was so short-lived, and we wish that it could go all throughout Athens throughout the entire day, but you guys were talking a little bit in the break that this has probably got to be like an outer body experience for the players. Can you even imagine what it's like riding around on those flatbeds and seeing all the fans?
I mean, even just beyond the fans, you just got to think about these guys, like, 40 years, and again, I alluded to it earlier, like, you go to these Letterman kind of banquets, and, like, obviously, anyone that played here, you have some level of respect for because you're essentially kind of like colleagues or peers.
Sure.
But when you hear 1980 over and over and over and over and over again, you're kind of just like, so for them, for all of eternity, they're going to be national champions, and people are always going to look at them in a little bit differently, especially in the state of Georgia, and I would imagine that it hasn't really hit them yet, but as it kind of goes on for a few more weeks and they go home for a bit, they're going to be national championships, and no one will really take that away from them. I think that's special. So yeah, out of body experience, to say the least.
It's probably hard for them to grasp what's going on right now. You can see some of them right now. It looks like one is holding up a sign. I mean, I've seen guys on their phones taking it all in, taking videos, and this is just the beginning of the day, Hudson, that we have. We have the parade that's going to start or end where Dog Walk will begin, and then they will go inside Sanford Stadium, and it will continue all day. A celebration built for champions. Can you even imagine what this is like for the players?
I can't. I wish. I've got some jealousy, there's no doubt. I think every player from 1981 to 2020 that wasn't able to deliver has some sports jealousy down deep. But I'm just thinking about what downtown Athens is going to look like tonight. I mean, it is. I don't think it's going to be very PG.
Yeah, definitely not.
I mean, it's going to be epic.
To be honest.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's going to be epic.
This is, even just these scenes are incredibly epic. It's kind of thinned out a little bit where we're sitting right now. Before, there were a lot of fans. Now they're going to where Dog Walk is, which is just over my left shoulder. But as you watch, I think that's Kirby Smart. Yep, there's Kirby Smart right now. And look at him just pumping everybody up. This has got to be so unbelievable for Kirby. I said it earlier. He's a guy that's been around Athens his whole life, played in a Georgia Bulldogs uniform, now coached his alma mater to a national championship. What is Kirby building here?
Well, I think he's not here by accident. a guy who has loved Georgia. He was a rabid fan with a dream of playing there. And then my guess is he always knew he wanted to be a coach. And he probably didn't know if he wanted to be a coach at a certain level. And then when he got to Georgia, I think he realized, I want to be the head coach at Georgia. And he probably put that in his mind early on. And again, you talk about the discipline it takes for him to not only accomplish getting to be the head coach of Georgia, but then to ultimately deliver them a national championship. I heard a lot of people saying, oh, we've dethroned Alabama and we're going to win 8. The fact they've won 1, it's incredibly a difficult thing to do. And I don't think it's going to be his last one.
Yeah.
But I do think he has probably at some point this week sat back with his wife and just kind of reflected and probably said, like, holy crap.
Yeah.
I just accomplished my goal, and let's go.
The crazy thing is like, you look at Georgia and Alabama, in my opinion, and you talked about winning more than one, because I agree with you. I could absolutely see this being one of, 2 or 3 in a 5-year window because of the way he recruits. But Georgia is positioned for great long-term success. Kirby's in his mid-40s. In my opinion, he's not going anywhere. He's at his alma mater, and he's at an alma mater that has every resource in the world to continue to win championships. And he doesn't strike me as a guy who would leave for the pros. I think him being from Georgia, this being his home, I mean, you don't get that a lot. And a lot of times in this profession, guys just want to leave for greener grass or higher paid jobs. Georgia is better positioned for long-term success than any other program in college football right now.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. And, he was under Nick Saban for so long, and he said that just working under Nick Saban, he got to see how difficult, number one, it is to win a national championship and how much work it takes to win a national championship. Kirby was sitting up there, I'll never forget. At 9 a.m., I was in that post-press conference that you do when the champions win. And he literally said what bothered him is that he wasn't already on the road recruiting. This guy goes 365 days a year. He's always thinking about recruiting. His wife told me that when she was on my podcast. He was built to build something in Athens, and I think we're seeing that today, and this is so exciting. You can see, just look at the crowds of people. It looks like trees from a distance, but it's literally people stuffed into every pocket of every crevice of this town. This is just, I can't even describe what this is like for the town of Athens. You guys have tried to, and we keep trying to explain 40 years is a long time to not have a championship. Some people never get to do it. Kirby Smart's been able to do that so young in his tenure, and what an incredible moment for not just Kirby, but for these players. Where does this championship team sit, do you think, in Georgia history?
Make no mistake about it. Atlanta, Hawks, Falcons, yeah, there's some rabid fans. This state cares about Georgia football more than anything else. That's a fact. It's really not up for debate. I mean, I would always say, if you're the starting quarterback of Georgia and you walk into a restaurant in Atlanta and Matt Ryan's there, someone's coming up to you for a picture. That's just a fact.
Do you think so?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
What if it's Matt Ryan and Stetson Bennett?
Oh, Stetson Bennett, for sure.
I mean, people in this city, in this state, care way more about Georgia football than they do the Falcons, and that's not a knock on the Falcons, but this is college football territory. I mean, this is SEC country, and when I talk about it on my radio show, most people outside of Atlanta don't get it because the NFL dominates pretty much every market around the country. Artie's from Boston. He understands.
Oh, yeah.
College football isn't king really outside of the SEC, but here it is a religion. It's a way of life, and, boy, am I jealous. I wish I was the quarterback that delivered because, I don't know, I might be doing other things for a living. I might not even be working, honestly.
Yeah, you wouldn't be sitting here with me today, I'll tell you that. Or you might, I don't know. But and I think it's just, we can't put into words how exciting it is for the players. But one person in particular I want to talk about is Andrew Smart, because I think Bulldog Nation has watched him grow up. I saw a picture earlier today of Andrew when they first got to campus, and now he's excited to be in the midst of his dad, being embraced by Bulldog Nation. All the players love him. They're getting ready for dog ride right now. I'm being told they're getting out of their vehicles and getting ready. And I can tell because there's kind of, if you look, you can't really see where our photographer, who's doing a great job, Mike, is. Behind him, there's a bunch of fans just walking in our direction because Dog Walk is behind us. So now that we've talked about Kirby and Andrew and all these things, you guys can kind of feel the energy shift, right? Because we're kind of in the middle of where Dog Walk is going to be. What is this like, this moment right now?
There is no better feeling than when you step out onto the Sanford Stadium on the field. I guess Dooley Field. It wasn't that when I was there, and you see 93,000 in a sea of red. There's just no better feeling in the world. And for them to get it on a random day in January, and there's probably a concert or there's Quavo or whoever's going to be here, so it's going to be a little bit different. But it's just it's something special. And until whether you're a fan or you're a player, doesn't matter. When you're inside Sanford Stadium, there's 90,000 people, see a red. It's hard to replicate that feeling.
You said it's like game day on steroids is the best way to describe it for people at home that couldn't be here today. Do you get a sense that this feels like game day a little bit?
Yes, as crazy as it sounds, like, as a player, you see a very condensed version of game day, right? Like you walk through the dog walk and then you're in the stadium and you don't really get to see everything. And so here, I'm like, these gates have been open for like, what, an hour, almost an hour now, and people are just continuing to pile in droves.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the dam has been open. Yeah, and so the amount of people outside the stadium is what impresses me the most. You can fit 93,000 inside Sanford Stadium, and every seat will be filled, but the amount of people that will still be here that can't get in the stadium, I would imagine, is another 20, 30, maybe 40,000 people. So it's funny, coming back to campus, you get a parking pass, and they tell you, hey, here's how you get to the press box, and hey, here's how you get around campus. And as a former player, as crazy as it sounds, I'm like, I don't know what that is. Like, I don't even know how to get to the press box. I never was in the press box as a player. It's crazy.
That's Kirby Smart right now, pumping his fist. It's funny because I think a lot of people see a very subdued version of Kirby Smart. He's typically all business. That's just kind of how he's been bred and operated. And of course, as I've mentioned before, working under Coach Saban for a long time will do that to you. But Kirby's got such a fun personality. He's a player's coach. From all of the players that I've talked to, they love him so much. He's friends with Quavo, we've discovered. And you can see how excited he was. I can't even imagine, Arthur, what it's like to be Kirby Smart in these moments when you see him pumping up the crowd. And do you just hope that he sits back for a second and thinks, oh my gosh, this is what I built?
I mean, I love intense people. That's why I love Mike Bobo. And I know he and Mike Bobo are close friends. They're at each other's weddings. Those videos that leak out of Kirby, I love it. It fires me up.
Yeah.
Coach Rick is a very special place in my heart. I love him to death. Totally different temperament, right?
Completely.
And so just like Kirby, the excitement he shows is not for recruiting. Like, he's probably holding himself back. Like, if he could really just go all out, I'm sure he would, because that's how he seems. And I imagine that his players love to play for him, because if anyone gets more, no one is as fired up as Kirby. And so when he's able to fire up his players like that, he's loving every single second of it.
And this looks like one of those days where he is extra fired up. You saw him like pumping his fists into the ground and walking towards the sea of people, as these guys have mentioned. I can't show you, but it looks like there are people that just continue to come from all facets of my direction. I mean, in every single direction I'm looking, there are people just piling towards Sanford Stadium. This is a scene that I have not seen on game day, and I did not play on the field, and I have seen the top of the stadium and walking to game day. I have not seen this in Athens. You guys have not either. This is an unbelievable day. And to watch Kirby twirl his arm around, I don't even know what he's doing, but this is just epic. I mean, I can't imagine the videos that are going to come out of today. You can see Andrew Smart, his son, in the front that I was talking about earlier, who Andrew still, I think, is one of my favorite people on the field, because he's always holding up the different whiteboards that say different messages after the games, and he hangs out in the locker rooms with the players. They love him so much. And to me, this is something I want you guys to talk about, and this will get into why Kirby, I think, is special. He fully immerses his family into this experience. Andrew is completely involved. Do you think that's maybe what separates him a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's his connection and his love and his passion for the university and for the state. I mean, I think all of that encompasses why he wants his family to be a part of it. And, you're right. It feels like every time you see Kirby, you also see his wife and you see his family right there next to him. So, I mean, he is a Georgia guy through and through, and everybody talks about, oh, how does this change Stetson Bennett's life, or how does this change a player's life? But I mean, how does it change Kirby's life? Like, the guy will have a statue built of himself, and if he wins more than one, he'll be a legend. I mean, he is a legend. Yeah, he's already a legend, right? But you win multiple of them. I don't know how much life can get any better if you win multiple of them compared to just one. But yeah, he's not going anywhere. Like, I mean, when you win one here, you're set for life. I mean,
and I think that this totally changes things. You just saw the Red Coat Marching Band. We're going to listen for 2 seconds. We have the Red Coat Marching Band, and we have a couple other things. Let's listen in really quickly. Okay, everybody, you're listening to the Red Coat Marching Band. You're watching some of these coaches and these players walk through Dog Walk right now and make their way towards Sanford Stadium. I saw different people like Kirby Smart, Mary Beth Smart, Andrew Smart that led the Dog Walk into Sanford Stadium. What a cool moment for the Smart family. And not just them, the rest of the coaching staff as well. I saw Matt Luke, who was an offensive line coach, and he was there with his wife, and it's really cool to see these families of the coaches and the players experience this. And something that I remember and that I take with me from Indianapolis is I was standing in the tunnel getting ready to go out on the field, and I saw a bunch of coaches' wives walk past me, get ready to make their way to the field. All of them were bawling, crying. I mean, it was the coolest moment because it was all of that hard work, 365 days a year that go into making a championship team just kind of released in that moment. And Dog Walk is one of those things that you guys know you get to enjoy. I think this is probably a little bit different than the Dog Walks that you guys were a part of, but try to explain to me what it's like to go through Dog Walk.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. I mean, the tradition is unparalleled, and you know, you're coming down Lumpkin, and you know, you see on game day thousands of people dressed up and getting ready to walk in under the bridge into Sanford Stadium. That was really where the chills began to set in for me every game day, and you were like, man, it's finally here.
Is that kind of what you felt like, Arthur?
Until you experience it, the cool thing about it is it's like starts wide, and then it goes narrow, and you're just kind of engulfed around Georgia fans, and it never got old, you know what I mean? And then when it's gone, you really miss it because you're like, wow, that was a really cool experience.
And you probably could think of no other way than to do it, but this way, right? On this day when you celebrate the national champions, you got to have a Dog Walk.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, thank God the weather permitted for it. But yeah, I mean, the Dog Walk has been around for a long, long time, and to not have one wouldn't be right.
Did you feel like that was the only way we get a Dog Walk? This is how we should start this thing? Parade, then Dog Walk, then Sanford, obviously.
Yeah, parade, Dog Walk. I don't even, outside of a concert, maybe I don't know what else you could have. Yeah, who knows? Maybe there will be a couple surprises here today.
Josh Brooks is going to do it the right way.
Yeah.
And I mean, what a year it's been for him. He's the athletic director at University of Georgia. He was an assistant football ops guy when we were players, and for him to, you know, what a cool experience it must be for him, who, you know, grew up an LSU fan. We can forgive him for that, but now he's a dog, dog for life, and for him to be able to, on his first year, help kind of orchestrate And obviously, because that's, when you're talking about an administration, the athletic director plays a big part of that.
Yeah.
And he's really helped Kirby have access to everything that he possibly needs to build this program in the way he wanted to get it built. And now they're champions. So I think kudos goes out to Josh Brooks because he was going to have this day planned perfectly.
And I'm glad that you brought up Josh Brooks because I talked to him on the field after the championship win, and he was so excited. And it was almost like the most emotional interview I've ever done with an athletic director. It was kind of like a pinch me moment for him that in his first year, this is what's happening. I mean, they're building something truly special here. There are players right now signing autographs and high-fiving fans, which this is also a really cool opportunity because you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but when you're doing dog walk on a game day, it's not like you're really doing a whole lot of interactions with the fans. You guys are more focused on what's the task at hand going into the stadium. Today is a day where you get to enjoy as a fan, and you get to interact with the players and the coaches. How special and different is that for these people that are going through there today?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. On game day as a player, you don't really get much fan interaction outside of the dog walk. So, I mean, in a set, you don't really get that much fan interaction with this amount of fans ever. I mean, this is ridiculous. There's so many people here. It's so insane. For the fans to be able to kind of get a little bit more up close and in person and have a little bit more of a personal kind of up close feel to it is got to be cool for the fans as well. And I'm so used to watching other cities have parades. It's just so cool to finally be able to have some skin in the game with one of our own.
Yeah, and he talked about it already. Hudson talked about it. Arthur talked about it. I talked about how many people are here. The dog walk looked packed. There's more people coming towards the stadium right now, Arthur. You talk about interacting with these players. This is different. They are now forever etched in the history books of Georgia football. They've elevated themselves in this community. Going to be hard for them to get home tonight.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean,
I don't think 316 was built to handle this.
No.
This is unbelievable.
It was not. But I think we mentioned it before, too. This day is as much for the player, as much of the fans it is for the players.
Yeah.
And for them to be able to interact with these guys, because like a lot of these, pretty much all these kids idolize these guys. You know what I mean? And and for like a little guy out there, he wants to. I mean, Stetson was one. I was talking to Aaron Murray last night. Stetson went to like one of Aaron's youth camps.
Oh my
and it's
gosh.
just like you think about that. It's like Stetson dreamed about this moment for a long time. So it's not hard to think or hard to believe that there's another Stetson out here, or there's another John Fitzpatrick or Bauer, or whoever. I mean, these kids out here, they love these guys, and they love the Georgia Bulldogs. So I think for the kids, especially who'll be able to remember it, I think that's the coolest thing.
I love looking around at all the little kids' faces too, because it's like totally different. Obviously, all of the adults are excited, especially the ones that have waited 40 years for this moment. But even when you look at the kids, and I can't see the feed right now, full disclosure, I cannot see it. But when you look at the kids, that their faces on Dog Walk, they're the ones where they're going to remember and tell their kids and their friends. I was at the dog walk. I was there for the champions.
There's a lot of Georgia fans, the younger generation Georgia fans like Artie and I's age and even younger that, 1980, we weren't even a thought in our mother's womb.
Yeah, none of us
So, this will be tattooed in a lot of younger generation Georgia fans' minds and hearts for many, many years. And like we said, this is probably not the first, but if it is, another 40 years before they win another one of them, there's a whole lot of Georgia fans here today that, this will be a memory that never goes away.
It's totally wild. And again, I was at the Braves championship celebration just a couple of months ago. I promise you, this is a lot more people than were outside of the ballpark of Truist Park. I never thought I would say that because we saw a mass amount of people spread out throughout Cobb County and Fulton County. This is different, though. I don't know. I don't really know how to describe this, and I'm trying to so that you guys at home who were not able to be here today, this is an electric atmosphere, like game day on steroids, which I love what you said earlier. But this is just a moment I think the Dogs fans will cherish and remember for the rest of time. When you look behind us, look at this. This is insane.
Yeah, I think Hudson hit the nail on the head. Like, I don't think it's the last national championship, but it's incredibly hard to win. And it's incredibly hard to win just an SEC championship. So, for these kids who will be able to remember it, I think they're going to savor it. And hopefully, they get a little bit spoiled like the city of Boston had been for so long. You know what I mean? You
had to drop that in there, didn't you?
Yeah, I had to do it. Parades become something of the norm. And, they're 2 for 2 so far this year in the state of Georgia. I guess 2 for 3 because the Falcons. Sorry, Falcons fans. But but I think, for these kids to, it's just something special. And you got to think about, as a parent, I imagine the parents are sitting there watching their kids like elated, and that's got to be a pretty cool feeling for them as well.
And the championship celebrations will not stop today, just so you know. I think that this will be a team that's celebrated for years to come, and they should, because at the beginning of the season, I thought this was the clearest path in recent memory that Georgia had to a national championship. It's a year where Alabama was very young, obviously still very talented, and the rest of their schedule looked pretty great. But Georgia, they had some bumps in the road. They had some ebbs and flows of the season. But to cap it off the way they did, have the most wins in school history, this was an epic season for them to win a championship.
I think a lot of people, if you told them at the beginning of the year Georgia would be playing a national title, they would have said, okay, I could see that. I could believe that. They would then follow it up with, okay, but can we get over Alabama?
Right.
And that was the ultimate question. And, when these guys are 40, 45, 50 years old and they go back for alumni events and they're back hanging out with their teammates, like they'll forever be able to be known and hang out and talk about the team that ended the 40-year drought and won a national championship and delivered something to this city and to this fan base that a lot of other teams weren't able to do. And I think that's what's special too, is because those relationships are forever as a teammate. But what is unique is, you get to talk about winning a national championship every single time you get back with those teammates.
It's special because you guys were teammates when you were here at Georgia. I'm excited to bring you two together, a nice little reunion here in Athens.
Artie and I just get together and we talk about how close we were. We talk about 2012. That's fun.
But okay.
That's misery.
It is. So maybe not the best memories all the time. But for these guys, this is different. I'm glad that you brought that up, because this will be something special that they get to reminisce on every time they see each other. Hey, remember that time that we won a national championship? This is unbelievable for these players.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
you don't have to bring up the SEC.
No, trust me, I was not going to. But you just got to think about, and it's not even about, it is about the national championship. That's why we're here. But when you're part of a team, any sport, but specifically football, there's like just little quirky things that will happen like at a pregame meal the night before, or like a strength coach will do something completely absurd, like at the team meeting the night before, or something will happen at practice. And like those are the memories that they'll have. But the fact that it ended on the season ended on on the highest of high notes, it's just they're gonna have so many awesome memories to look back on when they're getting older. They go to each other's weddings. They're in each other's weddings. They're godfather each other's kids, and that is going to happen because it's happening to us now. Yeah. And I think that's the coolest thing is they can be like, hey, we're champions, but they're not going to talk necessarily about the championship game. They're going to talk about the road to get there. And that's what the cool thing about football, I think, is.
And one of the coolest things that I saw, I think, and you guys saw it because you watched the national championship game, was when Stetson just completely broke down.
Yeah.
They had that camera on his face, and he was ugly crying. Like, I've never seen somebody ugly cry, because it was just a moment where, oh, my gosh, we are national champions. It was that emotion that I think some of these fans also feel.
Yeah, I can't imagine what feeling Stetson had after winning that game, because – I mean, let's be honest. That kid was treated unfairly at times this year. Like I said earlier, at times he was vilified. And, there's always pressure when you're the quarterback at Georgia, but there was a different type of just, I don't want to say anger, but just frustration around the quarterback position this year because it was so unique. And he performed really well all season, and at times you would have thought that he was playing miserably the way he was treated and talked about. And so for him to get the last laugh and be able to prove all those people wrong is got to be the greatest feeling he'll probably ever experience. All athletes want to prove people wrong when they're doubted, and for him to be able to get that last laugh and be able to prove people wrong and say, hey, no, the 4-star guy wasn't, the 5-star guy wasn't, the walk-on, basically. The guy that started his career as a walk-on is the quarterback that delivered the national championship. People have compared it to Rudy, and I've said, this isn't Rudy, this is better Rudy. Rudy played one snap. This is like Kurt Warner stuff, man. I mean, this is beyond Rudy. They could turn this into an incredible, movie.
Yeah, and I think that I should say, that they do make a movie out of Stetson's story, because it's been so unique. And he's a guy from southeast Georgia, a guy from a very tiny town of Blackshirt, Georgia. And I still can't see the feed, but I was told a little while ago, we got some of the players going into the stadium right now, into Sanford Stadium, getting ready for that celebration where they will be honored, and we'll be bringing you some of the sound that we hear from inside the stadium. I know that you have to go in just a little bit, so we got you just for a little bit longer.
I can see my booth from here, but I think with all the people, it's going to take me 30 minutes to walk a
if you need
stone
to go,
throw.
You can absolutely go.
No, I'm just saying that's how many people are here.
I mean, it's bananas when you look around and you see how many people are here. A lot of dogs, a lot of kids and their families being brought out to this moment. And I hope that Stetson enjoys this day. I really hope that he does. And not just Stetson, obviously all of the players and the teammates and the coaches too. But what an amazing way to celebrate what he was able to accomplish this year.
Yeah, and for, again, he's 5'10", $150 soaking wet. I mean, he looks like he should be a rush chair on Millage for a cockfight or something. But he led Georgia to a national championship, and I think it's the fact that he's from South Georgia. I mean, he's about as Georgia as you can get. Stetson Bennett the fourth. I mean, they don't make him much more Georgia than that. And for him to be able to celebrate, obviously with his teammates and his coaches, but I'm sure his entire family's here, and I think it's just a special moment for him, a special moment for his teammates, and just the whole university, because it's been a long time coming.
It has been a long time coming, 40 years in fact, and you can feel the sense that these fans are getting closer to us. We're going to try to mitigate that. But I also don't have IFB anymore. So Jeff, I'm going to send it back to you. And this is what happens on a parade day. We can't see the feed anymore, so I'm going to send it back to you for some help because it's gotten a lot more crowded. There's a lot of things going on out here. We'll be right back to try to give you a little bit brighter picture on what's happening.
The Georgia
We are back again on a very cold Saturday afternoon in North Georgia as Athens is reveling in the celebration of a national championship. And it bears repeating. We've been saying it nonstop now for the last week. It is a celebration 40 years in the making. But some of the video, the live pictures, the interviews of those celebrating today, massive crowds in Athens. And there is nothing like a parade. The Georgia Redcoat Band to the left of me, to the right of me, as far as you are watching television right now. Let's see if we can hear some of that audio. They are one of the best in the land. It is impossible to think of the Georgia football team without thinking of this extraordinary band that has spanned the generations. That is another one of those defining aspects of life at the University of Georgia. But this This dog walk began a while ago and continues to roll through for the next 43 minutes or so. There will be the constant stream of players and coaches, friends and fans, and band members certainly in this area as they make their way towards Sanford Stadium. We will see a celebration in what will be a packed stadium coming up at 2 o'clock. It will go until 3. But this is a day to celebrate all things the University of Georgia. And you think about not only the great football teams that have spanned the generations as well, but think about all the alums who have contributed to the greatness of the state of Georgia and beyond. The long list of alumni in this country that have had important, significant impacts on life in the United States. It is an extraordinary institution and just gets better and better. You think about Michael Adams, the former president of the University of Georgia, who meant so much to the building that has gone on, the endowment, and really stepping up so many of the academic programs. You think about Vince Dooley. It's easy to talk about the 89-year-old great man in the context of what he did as far as football goes, but he is and was so much more to the University of Georgia, building the library system with his generous donations, gender equity as far as the athletics department. You think about Andy Lander's women's basketball team, one of the first of the women's programs in the United States that made a difference and that looked different from what we had come to expect as far as women's basketball. But there has that great sense of progression, of success, of achievement on the field and off in the classroom and everywhere else when it comes to the University of Georgia. Reggie Chapman has been covering the Dogs during their run of Michigan and also Alabama during this amazing postseason run of which they had, and he joins us from Athens right now.
Welcome inside Sanford Stadium for a party 41 years in the making. The Georgia Bulldogs, your 2021 national champions. So the party inside of Sanford Stadium will be fit for how big this moment is, not only for the school, but for this entire state. A sellout crowd from inside the stadium. 92,000 people expected to see this team hop up on the stage behind me and celebrate this magical moment. Of course, fans made it out to Athens early this morning, but as soon as the doors opened at noon, fans rushed inside. Most excited, of course, the student section. Their section filled out the quickest for what is a really exciting moment for this city and this school. All right, that's it from inside Sanford Stadium. We'll send it back out to you guys out there.
All right, Reggie, you never tire of seeing that championship trophy and those oranges in that little container as well. Now, those are the fans between the hedges right now as they are making their way toward their seating, and there are no more tickets available. This thing sold out pretty quick, as there was an opportunity for first season ticket holders and those who had seats during the regular season, and then whatever was left went online, and they were gobbled up very, very quick. The whole thing began about 12:30 today as far as the parade. It began at the corner of South Lumpkin and Pinecrest Streets, right there at the Butts Mayor building, at the corner there with the gas station and all, and then it went down South Lumpkin to the Tate Center, and then the dog walk. That's where we are right now, from South Lumpkin through the Tate Center parking lot into the west end of the stadium. And of course, the pictures that you are seeing right now, the oranges, the national championship trophy, and the seats of the dignitaries led by Kirby Smart, that's where it will happen in about 39 minutes. We will take a break. Our coverage continues of the national champion Georgia Bulldogs, their day in the state of Georgia, their parade in Athens, in the hearts and minds of so many from the east to the west, from the north to the south. We continue on 11 Alive right after this break.
UGA Victory Parade, sponsored by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Gear up, Georgia fans.
If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, don't go it alone. Take action. We've got the high-powered legal team of Mungie & Associates standing by to let you know what your case is worth. I'm Erica Lewis here with Scott Mungie. Scott, can you let the viewers know who should call in right now?
Well, Erica, anyone who's been hurt in an accident, it wasn't your fault, call right now to find out how much your case is worth and if you can get a really big settlement.
You heard him. Take action and call now.
The Georgia Bulldogs have won their first national football championship in 41 years. BigTimeBats.com is releasing this exclusively licensed CFP National Champions Art Football with reproduced original artwork by Dennis Schrage. Go to BigTimeBats.com to see this beautiful football. Order now and receive free shipping. Each ball sells for $99.95, is limited to 5,000 balls, and comes with a numbered certificate.
Hi, I'm Andy Stanley. We all know the difference between right and wrong, or we thought we did. These days, it's a bit fluid. It changes with public opinion, majority opinion. Sometimes it changes with your opinion, right? So let's sort it out together this weekend on Your Move.
My family and I wanted a fresh start, but we didn't want the hassle of selling our home.
The guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate keeps you in control. There are no showings, no open houses, no stress. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer today and start packing.
Hi folks, we're back. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, don't go it alone. Take action. We're here with the high-powered legal team of Mungie & Associates standing by to let you know what your case is worth. So Scott, remind viewers at home who should call in now.
Well, Erica, anyone who's been hurt in
keep you and your family safe and ready for anything. Count on the 11 Live Storm Trackers.
All right, so welcome back. We are sitting right outside of Sanford Stadium where we are waiting for the celebration to begin inside of the stadium. It has been an incredible day so far, a celebration 40 years in the making. We have waited for this moment for so long, so Bulldog Nation, please enjoy it, every single second of it. Earlier today, Denise Bennett, Stetson Bennett's mom, tweeted out a very awesome video of her son 10 years ago.
All right, Stet, why are you trying?
So I can kick butt in championships.
Okay, so that video was Stetson 10 years ago saying that he practices because he wants to win championships. He's built for championships. It's the funniest thing. I was texting her earlier this morning. She said, please use that video because it's hilarious. Guys, it's getting a lot more crowded here. We're doing our best to try to keep these people a little bit away from us. But honestly, Arthur Lynch here, we're going to bring him back in for a second. This is a madhouse. I mean, I don't even know how to describe it other than that. People are trying to get into the gates now because the celebration is going to begin inside Sanford Stadium. It's been an incredible day so far, one that Georgia fans have waited for so long.
Yeah, you know, they're really on top of us, and it's pretty crazy, right? To think, obviously, when you play here, Hudson mentioned earlier, you don't really get the full experience.
Yeah.
You don't really, you see 90,000 seats that are filled.
Yeah.
But to witness them walk in is like a stampede.
And probably a totally surreal thing for you because you've never experienced that.
For sure. And I think one of the, as the day gets a little bit older and people, are hydrating, stuff gets even wilder.
Yeah.
So I imagine that today in that stadium is going to be pretty insane.
Yeah.
I can only imagine when they introduce the team. I'm sure we'll be able to hear it and we won't be able to hear ourselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be a wild experience. I'm excited.
I think it's just been so incredible so far because every single person that you watch that walk by where we're sitting right now, you can see it on their face. I mean, and this is a day that we've talked about it all day so far, 40 years in the making. But for Bulldog Nation, to watch what happened in Indianapolis and then to celebrate it here, it's all just so surreal, I feel like.
Totally. And the sense of relief too.
Yeah.
It's the elephant is it's off the back, or the monkey's off the back, or however you want to say it. I think the fact that they were able to beat Alabama, it's like people's emotions are heightened that much more. Not to say, if we would have played Cincinnati or somebody else, it still would have been great, but it had to have been Alabama, and I think because it was Alabama, people are just that much more excited. Excited's probably the kosher way to say it, but yeah, they're pretty fired up.
Let's hang with Alabama for a second because this is a team that has dominated college football ever since Nick Saban got to Tuscaloosa. In fact, the last time that Georgia actually beat Alabama was Nick Saban's first year in Tuscaloosa.
2007.
Yes, 2007.
Matt Stafford.
What'd you say?
Matt Stafford,
Matt
2007.
Stafford, absolutely, in 2007, and he was the last one to do it, and ever since then, Alabama has completely dominated. So you did talk about how because it was Alabama, it makes it that much more special. Is that why you think people are a little bit more excited?
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, I wish every fan would look at things from a different perspective. You know, I always compare this run that Alabama has had to what Bill Belichick and Tom Brady did with the Patriots.
Sure.
How many more Super Bowls would Ben Roethlisberger have or Peyton Manning have if it wasn't for those two, right? And you think, or obviously the whole team of the New England Patriots, but you look at Alabama and what they've been able to do. Georgia might already have one if it's not for them, right? And when you're playing against the best, in the best league, against one of the best coaches of all time, you have to be great, elite, as Kirby Smart says it, every single day. And the fact that Georgia can now say they're elite is because they are elite. And the reason why I think these fans are so excited is because they know they beat one of the all-time greats as a coach and a team. And so that puts Georgia as one of the all-time greats for eternity. And I don't think it's going to be their last one. I think Kirby has a lot more work to do and will accomplish a lot more. But I think for these fans and obviously for the players and the coaches, it's such a surreal moment, and I'm excited for him. As I'm just proud as an old former Georgia player and just a fan now. I'm so happy with these guys.
And finally, everybody gets to say that they beat Alabama, that they're no longer the underdog. Really, Georgia is not anymore. They are elite, and like Arthur said, like Kirby Smart said earlier, you're either elite or you're not. That's exactly what he said. And Georgia is elite, has been elite. The defense was elite pretty much the entire season long. They had a mishap in the SEC championship game, but regardless from that, they were elite all season. And we're going to talk a lot more about that. But as this gets a little bit more crowded here, I can't necessarily hear even what my producers are saying at this point back at the station. So, Jeff, I'm going to send it back to you for a minute because I know that people are trying to file into Sanford Stadium. This gate is, you can see the people behind Arthur and I. It's incredibly packed. So, Jeff, I'll send it back to you.
Scheduled to go at 2 o'clock this afternoon. That is about 30 minutes from right now, but it is slow going. This has gone, according to Hoyle, very well since it began at 12 o'clock today. Pretty much everything on its mark, running to time, but it is beginning to look a little bit different. It is much slower in terms of trying to get people into Sanford Stadium right now. They are all bundled up and ready for the ceremony again that will commence in about 30 minutes. And will run from 2 to 3 o'clock today. It will be a great celebration of all things Georgia, not just the football team, but the culture that is the University of Georgia. It's great academics, it's a great athletics program, not just the football program, but everything red and black that has meant so much to so many for so long. We're going to take a break right now. We will continue on this cold day in North Georgia, but a warm, special afternoon for those who love the university. We'll be right back.
Hello and welcome back. I'm sitting right outside of Sanford Stadium. We're getting closer than ever to what will be the end of the celebrations here for Georgia, but we've been starting all throughout the day. We had a parade, and then we had the dog walk, and now it ended here. And we'll get started inside of Sanford Stadium in just a little bit, but it's a beautiful day in Athens, especially because there are Dogs fans with me, gay and ready to celebrate the national championship. A lot of my friends are here. We have Angela, we have Jean, and we have Ellie, and we have Miss Ella with us today. Ladies, if you could just back up 1 second just so that I can get all of you in there. Okay, great. So, amazing. Yeah, you guys go to school here. Yeah. National champions.
I know. Come on. Like, I can't believe, like, watching it the moment it happened. I was standing, I've never been, my eyes have not been more glued to the screen ever. I was like, it can't. Tears instantly. I was like, insane.
And same thing for you, Ellen.
We were actually together when we were like watched Georgia win, and like just to be here, it was just so special. Just to have this moment, especially after 41 years waiting for a national title. Like, I'm so grateful that I was here to be at school during this time and just have this experience because it's once in a lifetime. Really.
And because here's the thing, guys, it's been 40 years that there hasn't been a national championship here. You're not a student, Angela.
I'm not a student. I'm from Athens.
But you're from
Athens, Georgia.
Are you born and raised?
Born and raised, Athens, Georgia.
Okay, born and raised.
Athens, Georgia.
Okay.
I have 2 children that were accepted at University of Alabama.
Okay.
I have a niece at Alabama.
Okay.
Right now, she's a rising junior.
Okay.
But I was very happy for Bennett. It's roll tide, but hey, Bama girl for Bennett.
This is actually interesting because we do have an Alabama fan. Which
Yes.
We're going to forgive you today. Okay, that's all right. But the great news is you were a fan of Stetson Bennett. And tell me why you love Stetson Bennett so much.
His perseverance. He persevered.
Yeah.
I mean, and he didn't give up. You know, and he was confident, and he looked like Bama in that 4th quarter.
Yeah.
And you just have to give it to him. They were very deserving.
Now everybody looks like Georgia, though, right? Because Georgia's the national.
Well, you got 12 months. You got 12 months. So, hey, it's okay. It's okay.
It's just a little friendly conversation.
It's still roll tide, but hey, you deserve it. Georgia deserves it.
And listen, I commend you for coming out here. You are brave.
Yeah,
you are
absolutely.
brave. And you were born and raised in Athens, so this is your
but
city.
it's roll tide.
That's right.
It's roll tide.
For you, it is roll tide.
Congratulations.
I love that. And I love that you're cheering for Stetson Bennett. And we're going to sneak you in here because you haven't said anything. Are you a lifelong Georgia fan?
I am born and raised in Athens.
Okay.
And I like Bennett humble. He's very humble. I like that about him.
Yeah.
Really
So you love
like
that he's humble.
I love it. And I love the Georgia Bulldogs, too.
Love the Georgia Bulldogs.
It's Bennett because the whole team won the game.
That's right. And now that we have a national championship here in Athens, and we have 2 students with us here today, I'm interested to hear from your guys' perspective, and you can come around here just a little bit so that I can see you a little bit better. I'm interested to hear from you guys because you were in Athens when they won the national championship. What was it like here in Athens?
I mean, surreal. I mean, like the minute we walked out of the bar, we were all together, and like, I mean, you know, like, and
we weren't at the bar, Mom and Dad.
Of course,
they weren't at the bar.
The streets were just like, I mean, just people, and like the energy was like insane. People were like, it was just like. Everyone's just so happy and like
throwing stuff, like climbing on things.
No, they wouldn't climb on anything.
Never. Throwing construction, like people were just going insane. People like throwing champagne, like it was just such an amazing experience. Like I've never seen so many people like all outside at once.
I forgot like the school's huge. I'm like, oh, here's everyone. Like that's like,
everyone's outside.
They pulled up. I'm like, okay, yeah, but like, I mean, as a senior, honestly, because even like watching like the disappointment from like from the SEC championship, I was like we were just like so upset, and then to then like see them like pull it together. I mean, I was like, this is like the best. Like, I mean, it was. Come on, like.
Did you guys cry?
Oh,
I got a little choked up. I'm not gonna lie.
Over like spilled tea. I was weep. I was like, this. Yeah, it was crazy.
It's such a cool moment for the city.
It was, and I think what was so great was that I feel like everybody collectively was like, this is our year.
Yeah.
Like I think everybody collectively had like this energy. Like all the fans throughout this entire year, there was just a feeling, and it's really awesome to see that come to fruition because I think so many people were just like, no, we're winning this game. Who cares what happened to the SEC championship? It's going down.
Did you guys have a feeling after the SEC championship that there would be revenge on Alabama? Any of you Georgia fans? I can't ask you.
I'm
sorry.
Yeah, I mean, like I knew it was time. It it was time, but it's okay.
You knew it was time for Georgia.
We're good.
I kind of thought
you knew it was time for Georgia.
I was like, it's meant to be. Like, they have to. Like, it was going to happen.
Right.
I mean, I'm like, manifestation. I was like, come on, they're going to do it. Like, because I have to.
my mom's a huge Alabama fan, and I go here, and she was like, I really think it's Georgia's year. And I was like, I think so too.
It is, and now we're here celebrating a championship. Ladies, I know you're trying to get inside, so thank you. I really appreciate it. And congratulations to Georgia and go Dogs.
Thank you,
Awesome, thank you guys, and thank you. I really appreciate it. They are just so excited to be here. Obviously, these students. It's been fun to watch them because I remember when I was in college, I went to an SEC school. I tell you, there is nothing like the SEC. I can't describe it to anyone. I was born and I was immediately immersed into the Southeastern Conference. Both of my parents are diehard SEC fans, so I know what it is truly like to be a part of the SEC, and there is nothing like this moment, and it feels like all of the town of Athens has descended upon what is outside of Sanford Stadium. You can hear the guys barking everywhere, and they were just talking about how they felt like it was Georgia's year, and ever since the beginning of the season, I really kept saying that this is the clearest path that Georgia's had in a long time to get to a national championship game and to ultimately win, and to watch them do it in the fashion that they did it, and over Alabama, as you listen to those fans said, made it even more sweeter. You guys, thanks for hanging with us so far. We have a lot more parade coverage coming up, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break.
UGA Victory Parade, sponsored by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Gear up, Georgia fans.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Storm trackers.
We are about 18 minutes away from Sanford Stadium and the celebration inside the stadium, which will have an enormous crowd. Let's take a look at some of the pictures that continue to transpire right now in Athens as we get a look at what is going on inside the stadium, outside the stadium. We have seen massive crowds that began assembling this morning. Taking a look right now at the one and only Kirby Smart with his great emotion. As always, what a day for him. Think about how far things have come for the University of Georgia football program since he was announced as head coach on December 6th, 2015. Greg Garrity, who was the athletics director at the time, is the man who made the decision to hire Kirby Smart. UGA was going just fine with Mark Richt, but after the Florida game, Garrity drove back to Athens contemplating if he would stay with Richt or if he would move on and hire this man right here. Well, we know what happened. And what has happened, a very, very good Georgia program has stepped up to the next dimension, the next level. And since Kirby Smart came aboard, his overall coaching record, 66-15, 6-2 in bowls, 3-1 in the tournament, a national championship, an SEC title, and 4 SEC Eastern divisions. When you think about Kirby Smart, you think about all the smiles on these faces and all these incredible athletes that he has been able to recruit. The great strength of what he is able to do is going into these households all through the state of Georgia, keeping the best football players at home. And now this is what has happened. The harvest, the national championship, and kids celebrating that they will remember this day for the rest of their lives as they're sitting in those wonderful BMWs, pricey F-150s as well. It doesn't get better than that in Athens. And this is a live look right now. It's Sanford Stadium, and the huddled masses now assembling, attempting to get into the stadium. And again, we are scheduled to begin this in about 16 or 17 minutes, but I would sense this is going to be running a little bit late today as everybody attempts to get into the stadium. It is a celebration of all things the University of Georgia, not just the football program, not necessarily a day of football, but a day of celebrating, a day of parades, a day of enjoying the culture that is UGA. Let's go back to Maria Martin right now, who is outside the stadium. Maria?
Hey Jeff, yeah, you say a day of celebrating. It certainly is that, and I can tell you I think all of the town of Athens is here outside of Sanford Stadium right now. I have 2 recent grads. Congratulations, ladies. We have Allison and Summer with us, who obviously you guys have not been around the 40 years that this city has really not had a championship, but now national champions. You guys excited or what?
We've waited our whole life for this, and it's finally here. I'm so excited. Yeah, excited is an understatement for sure.
Where did you guys watch the national championship game at? Were you in Indianapolis? Were you here?
So I was in Atlanta with a bunch of college friends. Awesome. We all graduated together. We watched it together, and it was incredible. And I was in South Georgia with my family, and a dream come true, something we've been waiting on since I was born. We've always talked about winning a national championship for the Dogs.
So you guys are born and bred Bulldogs fans, is that right?
Born and raised in Georgia.
How do you explain what this means for not just your university, but for the city of Athens and for Bulldog Nation?
It means everything. It's indescribable. There aren't words. I mean, it's so exciting. This is the beginning of a long streak. I can feel it. This is our time.
Okay, Summer says this is our time, and it's funny because we've been talking all day about how we think that this isn't the last one for Kirby Smart. Would you guys agree, maybe?
I would agree. It's not over.
What do you think?
It's only the beginning.
Okay, so do you think like 2, 3, whatever?
I don't want to jinx anything, but I think we have good things coming.
Okay, fine. We won't jinx anything. What about you?
I think we've got the next 10 years locked down, for sure.
10 in a row? Is that what that's a lot.
Hey, I put my trust in Kirby, for sure.
All right, so in Kirby we trust. She's thinking 10 national championships. You guys, we've also been talking all day about how it's that much more special to beat Alabama finally. Does it make it that much better? You guys are diehard Bulldogs fans, you know.
It's the curse. It's the curse that's been beat, finally. We've been waiting on this. I was terrified for the national championship, and incredible, absolutely incredible. They have been our kryptonite for too long. It's over.
I'm putting you on the spot. You have a jersey on. Is it a current player?
This was Noshawn Marino.
Okay, well, Noshawn's still fine too, but who was your favorite player this year for the national championship and why?
Oh my goodness. Well, Stetson Bennett is from Blackshear and I'm from Waycross. We're right next to each other.
Awesome.
I grew up with Stetson, so I would have to say he's my favorite player.
Well, look at that. We stumbled on into this. We'll get back to this in a second, but who is your favorite player and why for the national championship?
I mean, Jordan Davis was kind of a legend this year. We can't deny that. He really took advantage of this whole opportunity, and it was awesome.
It's okay. We'll get him. It's okay. So he did, for sure, and I think he's going to do great things in the NFL. But Stetson's had an amazing journey, and you grew up with Stetson. Do you always think he was capable of doing something like this?
Oh, we were talking about this recently, that Stetson is now like the legend of South Georgia. Everybody loves Stetson Bennett, always has, and now that he has won a national championship for the Dogs, even more so.
What do you think about that flip phone?
I think it worked.
Are you guys going to get a flip phone now that he has a flip phone?
I don't know that he has encouraged us that much to follow suit, but I'm glad it worked out for him.
Okay, that's honest. I don't know. He inspired me. If it wasn't for this job, I might have a flip phone. But so obviously what Stetson did was amazing. You guys know that. But Does it make it that much better because you grew up with him?
It makes it that much better because I know that this was his dream for as long as he could remember. So, yeah.
This is such a cool moment, obviously. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And congratulations on graduating. That's awesome.
Thank
Yay.
you.
Great job, ladies. Have a great day. Go Dogs. And we also have someone over here. What's your name?
Brittany.
This is Brittany, and who are these?
These are me. This is Caroline.
Hello, Caroline.
Olivia.
And Olivia, we have Caroline, Olivia, and Brittany with me right now. This is obviously an amazing moment for Georgia football. How special is this in Athens today?
Oh my gosh, this is so amazing. And this is the first time we brought the kids to, they haven't been to a game. They've been to Athens before, but not on like game day excitement and now national championship.
This is great. You guys are starting off well. You get a national championship and a parade right off the bat, which is great. This is so special and so exciting. What is this day like? Can you even describe it as a fan?
Oh, just so exciting. There's just excitement everywhere. Everybody's so happy to be here and see other dog fans and people of all ages. It's great. Just thrilling.
And what do you think about today?
It's very exciting since it's my first time being here.
I can't believe it's her first time being here and she gets a national championship parade, which is so cool. I'm assuming you were a lifelong dog fan.
Yes.
So as a lifelong dog fan, does this championship mean even more? Hello, dear.
Yes, yeah. Grew up in Georgia, and then really once I went here, of course, big football school, became such a fan. So it's been a long time coming.
No pressure, but are the girls going to go to UGA?
It's what we're hoping for. We've been showing her around, especially. This is where Mom did this. This is where Mom lived.
Oh, that's really special. So is that even cooler for your family that this is obviously, did you go here?
Yes.
Okay, so you're a graduate of the University of Georgia, so does it mean even more to you that you were able to watch your Bulldogs win a national championship?
Yes. Yeah, it was a lot of heartbreaking years there, so finally we got a big one.
Well, I know you got your hands full, so I'll let you go. Girls, congratulations on a national championship. How exciting, right? Mm-hmm. Are you excited? Say go Dogs.
Go Dogs!
All right, say go Dogs. Can you give me go Dogs?
Go Dogs!
Go Dogs! Thank you so much. Enjoy your day. So cute. I'm telling you, even from the littlest of Bulldogs fans who, for them, it's their first experience in Athens, and they're lucky they get a national championship parade for their first trip. But it's also really cool. We ran into somebody that grew up with Stetson Bennett who can actually attest to him being exactly who he is. He's never apologized for who he is, which I really appreciate. And he's faced a lot of scrutiny this season, and now he gets a national championship. And he, along with the rest of his teammates, are going to celebrate inside Sanford Stadium in moments. We're going to take you to some of those moments. We'll also be back with a lot more analysis from our friend Arthur Lynch right after the break.
The Georgia Bulldogs have won their first national football championship in 41 years. BigTimeBats.com is releasing this exclusively licensed CFP National Champions Art Football with reproduced original artwork by Dennis Schrage. Go to BigTimeBats.com to see this beautiful football. Order now and receive free shipping. Each ball sells for $99.95, is limited to 5,000 balls, and comes with a numbered certificate.
Right now at Checkers, get 2 Big Bufors for just $8. Oh, you better believe it'll be the tastiest $8 you've ever spent. For real, all that 100% beef with melty American cheese and the perfect toppings for just $8. I know you feel that. That's your mouth watering. Get 2 Big Bufors for just $8. You've earned it. Get Checkers delivered through our rewards app.
Hi, folks. Medicare Part C plans with extra benefits like getting money added back to your Social Security check may now be available to you in your zip code. Make sure you're not missing out. It's simple. 1, call the number on your screen. 2, they'll look up your zip code and see if you're eligible. 3, they'll check for plans with extra benefits like prescriptions, dental coverage, and the benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every single month. Call now.
I called to get everything I deserve.
I called to check my zip code for a plan with a benefit that adds money back to my Social Security check.
I called to check my zip code.
Millions of people have called the Medicare Coverage Helpline. Call, check your zip code, see if you're eligible, and get what you deserve. Call now.
Call 1-800-300-2017. That's 1-800-300-2017 now.
Hello and welcome back. We're waiting for the celebration to make its way inside of Sanford Stadium. We're celebrating the national champions, the Georgia Bulldogs. We've been talking to fans all afternoon about how exciting this moment is for the town of Athens, for Bulldog Nation, for people that have grown up loving this team. This is such a special day and an incredible moment for not only Athens but everyone else. And it looks like I'm going to get another guest in here, just trying to bring you all the action, live TV. Hi, how are you? What's your name? Scarlett? Scarlett. Very nice to meet you. You can come a little bit closer because I'm just going to ask you about what this means to not only Bulldog Nation but also to. Oh, give me 1 second. It's a very interesting celebration out here so far. Hold on 1 second. Okay, all right, we're good, everyone. Starla is here with me talking about how special this day is for the city of Athens. How cool has this moment been?
This is very cool. I'm an alumni from 2010, so to actually get to see this is just like fantastic.
So you're an alumni?
Yes.
Does it make it even better that you graduated from here?
Absolutely.
What was going through your head during the national championship game?
I got to see a couple of national championships before where we were close but didn't quite clinch it. So to see this one, and then as the game started coming to a close and thinking like we're actually going to do this, and it was just unbelievable.
And especially because you beat Alabama.
Right.
So much better, right?
Absolutely.
When you have the 2018 national championship, you're talking about how they lost to Alabama then.
Yes.
Did you ever think that you would get close and do it?
I figured that we would because I just felt that we were the better team watching the games, and then even before the 2018 game, how we just lost basically with that one last play. I figured it was bound to happen, and then seeing with this team with the #1 defense, I figured this year had to be our year.
And we've also been talking about how Kirby Smart is building something special at Georgia. What do you think about Kirby Smart?
I think that's absolutely true. His recruiting class has been amazing, and that was also part of the frustration because we've always had the talent. It just seemed that we couldn't get over that hump.
And now I feel like they have gotten over the hump.
Yes, and then be able to celebrate the Braves and the Dogs in the same year.
That's just you're a Braves fan too.
Yes.
So what has this been like, this whirlwind of the past 2 months?
It's just been amazing. I'm a Georgia native, so it's just been fantastic.
So now do you expect championship parades all the time? Is that what it's going to be?
One can only hope. Waiting on the Falcons and the Hawks.
We just got to hold out hope that the Falcons are going to figure it out, right? And then hopefully the Hawks got close last year.
They did.
Okay, so we're on the right track with the Hawks. But what was your favorite part about the national championship game?
I think just seeing everybody just completely go into tears. Like,
yeah,
we all felt like we were playing on that field and everything, and it's just fantastic.
It really is fantastic, Starley. Thank you so much. Enjoy if you're going inside. Going to try to make your way inside. Good luck and be safe. We're trying to avoid a little bit of chaos out here. So as we've described, I think pent-up energy, Jeff, of people that have been waiting for a championship. You've seen it all afternoon here in Athens, just these fans so excited, hungry for a championship, and now they're just excited to celebrate.
Hey, look, everybody wants a party, and certainly you get into these days of January when it's cold and snow is on the horizon, the holidays are behind us. We look for reasons to celebrate, and this certainly is a great reason. I've got a picture here of Kirby Smart. It was taken by one of our colleagues here at 11 Alive. I put it on my Facebook page. Jeff Hullinger, 11 Alive. Can I put it on this camera? Can you get it? This is my favorite picture that I've seen of the parade so far. It's Kirby Smart in the back of a Ford F-150, and he is calling the dogs. Come on, come on, come on. It is a great shot. If you have not seen it, you should check it out. I think it sums up everything that we have seen over the last 2 hours and maybe everything that we have seen over the last 5 or 6 days. It has been an extraordinary experience. All right, that is Sanford Stadium right now. No stranger to those in red and black apparel as we pan across the field right now. Hey, it could be a Saturday in October, right? A very cold Saturday in October, but this is very different. As you see the hedges there, impossible not to think of all the great players that have rolled through here over the generations, and Vince Dooley, of course, at the forefront. Seeing those hedges, seeing them on so many memorable fall afternoons, so many SEC games, so many stirring moments. that have really touched the hearts and minds of so many people in the state through the decades. It is so cool. It is so great to be able to see the stadium and those hedges now hosting this moment in time when all these Georgia fans will come together and they will celebrate all things that are Georgia football. And we have been talking about this all afternoon long. It's more than just the football team. And you think about what the University of Georgia means to all of us here in Atlanta, all of us in North Georgia, Middle Georgia, Coastal Georgia, South Georgia, the impact that this great university has had on all of our lives. No matter where you went to school, you have to be appreciative for what it means academically, what it means culturally, and certainly the athletics have been the ties that bind. And don't forget about that great Redcoat marching band. When it comes to great bands in the United States, they stand tall. We'll take a break. We are a couple of minutes away from the ceremony kicking off, getting ready, firing up inside Sanford Stadium. But for now, these commercial messages.
UGA Victory Parade, sponsored by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Gear up, Georgia fans.
At Montlick & Associates, we're here to help you 24 hours a day, including weekends and holidays.
Simply call us at 1-800-LAW-NEED for your free consultation, or dial #WIN from your cell phone. That's pound 946.
The Georgia Bulldogs have won their first national football championship in 41 years. BigTimeBats.com is releasing this exclusively licensed CFP National Champions Art Football with reproduced original artwork by Dennis Schrage. Go to BigTimeBats.com to see this beautiful football. Order now and receive free shipping. Each ball sells for $99.95, is limited to 5,000 balls, and comes with a numbered certificate.
Changing the world starts with you. And at South College, we can help you put yourself on the path forward by helping you develop the knowledge and skills to help build a strong foundation to make a difference in people's lives every day in rewarding fields like physical therapy. Because when it comes to changing the
More excited than you could ever imagine. Dogs are winners. A national championship for a new generation of Bulldogs.
I'm so happy.
It just don't get no better, man. It don't get no better, dude.
You know, it's great to be a dog.
And I'm so proud of our team. I can't wait for Saturday.
Oh, reliving those moments are so much fun, and it's been so much fun here outside of Sanford Stadium all day long. We are minutes away from the celebration inside the stadium happening, and we'll be bringing you those moments, I promise, but we also have a lot more to cover because what a day, what a time for the Georgia Bulldogs. Joining me again, as he has been all afternoon long, is former Georgia and NFL tight end Arthur Lynch. Back with me now. You've escaped the masses. You had to navigate your way to the bathroom, which I'm sure was very fun because there's so many people here. This is incredible. We've seen an evolution or a time lapse of people from the beginning of the day. It looked a little bit like it is right now, a little bit quiet, but this is probably the craziest I've ever seen Athens. You can probably attest to that more than me.
I've seen some pretty crazy times in Athens. Obviously never participated because why would I? I was always a straight edge guy.
Sure, of course.
But yeah, it's pretty insane. And I think it's like, you know, it's 40 years of built up frustration and some disappointment and some heartbreak. And it's been such a great season. One little low in the SEC championship game, but I just think that for these fans, for the players, for the team, for the town of Athens, and really the state of Georgia, it's a day of celebration. And it's they take their football seriously. They love it, and today they can call themselves champions again, as they will be for the rest of the time.
Let's look ahead for a second with this Georgia Bulldogs team, because 7 of them so far have declared for the NFL draft. And I think what people need to realize at home, something interesting about eligibility, because of the COVID-19 year, guys will get an extra year of eligibility should they use the COVID-19 year. But 7 guys are leaving. There is a lot of seniors on this roster. Where do the Bulldogs go from here?
Well, obviously, anytime you leave, you lose a core group of a national championship team, you know, there's going to be a gap, right? But I think the one thing that Kirby Smart has done better than anything else is recruit.
Oh, yeah.
And when you recruit at a high level, or an elite level, as Kirby likes to say, it makes things a lot easier. He's been able to develop talent. Stetson's returning, and anytime you bring back your quarterback, you know, that's your leader of the team. I think they'll be fine. The great all-time programs like the Alabamas or the Ohio States or the Michigans, they're able to reload year in, year out. I probably shouldn't say Michigan, because that's about 30 years ago. Sorry, Michigan fans. Like, but Ohio State and Alabama has been able to reload and Clemson. I think Georgia's in a position to be able to do that. I think they've done that in recruiting. I think Kirby, the fire in his belly is not going to go away. So I would imagine that they have a very good opportunity to be in the SEC championship game next year, which typically, historically speaking, is kind of your ticket into the playoff. So obviously they have to get back to work. They're going to celebrate tonight, but make no mistake, Monday there's going to be workouts. The workouts are going to start, and the guys that aren't going to the NFL, you know, there's going to be hell to pay, because Kirby's going to talk about complacency, as a great coach should. And I really think he's going to have a huge opportunity to be like, hey, we're at the mountaintop, but now we're at the bottom. We got to climb back to the top, because it's great to be champions once. It's better to be champions twice.
It's interesting. You make a lot of good points, because in that post-game press conference in the morning after, once you win a national championship, always the winning coach, they tend to talk at 9:30 in the morning. Everybody was running on 3 hours of sleep, including myself. And Kirby said, there comes a new era or a stigma around being a champion, and that's the most difficult thing. He even talked about that. Now it's like, we're at the top. We got to now stay at the top, and that's something Nick Saban's managed to do incredibly well, but it's difficult.
It's incredibly difficult. I mean, I think that's what makes what Nick Saban has done so special. And Georgia fans probably pissed at me for bringing up Nick Saban, but he is, he's the cream of the crop, right? Kirby is a protege of him. Kirby is trying to build Alabama's kind of legacy, but something even different here at Georgia. I think he's doing that. Obviously, he's taken the right step and won a national championship. But it's, as a player, as a former player, I should say, whenever you're trying to go again, like, you know who number one is, right? For us, it was Alabama. We have, that's the guy. We got to take our best shot at them.
People look at Georgia that way now?
That's what I'm saying. Now it's like,
I love that.
Now it's like, okay, Georgia's at the top. We got it now. Every single team is going to be gunning for Georgia, especially if they're on their schedule. I think Kirby knows that. Kirby's going to feed that into these guys every single day. And something tells me Stetson's the kind of guy that he's always going to have the chip on his shoulder. He's always going to have the fire in his belly, so he's good to go. And I think that kind of mantra around him will kind of go throughout the entire team, and I'd be very surprised if they weren't a top 5 team at the. Obviously, they're going to be at the beginning of the year, but at the end of the year as well. I think they'll be in a position to win another championship.
We know that Kirby recruits well, because literally 2 days after the national championship, his Kirby copter was landing at North Gwinnett High School, and he had all
Kirby
of his,
copter,
the Kirby copter, and he had coaches spread all throughout the area, as they do. As soon as the championship game was over, he was already looking ahead to recruiting, and that's why he is building something special here at the University of Georgia. It's a big game or a big day of celebration when Governor Kemp is inside. We know that he is inside of Sanford Stadium right now. He tends to be around where the celebrations are, and he is here to celebrate this incredible day with the Georgia Bulldogs. And also, Arthur was bringing up a great point about Stetson Bennett. And earlier, after the national championship game, I caught up with his mom, Denise, so proud of her son, who's been through a lot this season and ultimately got to lift a championship trophy in the end. I know you're going to start crying. I already know. And you should, because Stetson Bennett is a national champion. How wild.
I can't even hear your question. I'm so sorry.
How proud are you of Stetson right now?
it's a lifetime of emotion. I'm so happy. He's the best kid. I've got 5 that are amazing, and I know I am so happy.
Denise, I know it's been a difficult season because of all of the outside noise for your son. Does it feel so much better now that that's finally gone and he really did help this team?
I don't even think about it. You know, you get like upset. I'm not upset. Like, it's just, it makes it he's never won a championship.
I heard he was close once in baseball.
It was close, but he never did. And
I know as mom, you're emotional whenever you're watching Stetson. What was it different tonight?
It was. At halftime, I got real close to the Lord at halftime, and this peace came over me, and I'm not going to say I knew we were going to win, but it was a peace of, I got this. And I was like, okay, win or lose, you got it. And it was peace. And it's a dream. It's a dream. It's a dream for that little boy.
Have you been able to see Stetson yet?
No.
What are you going to do when you see him?
Hug him. We're going over to the hotel and just no words. God, I just want to hug him. So all his family, his girlfriend.
You know, and I can tell who his brothers are because they look like twins, and we talked about that. His younger brother is here as well. You got all your family here.
His girlfriend.
Sister, girlfriend, brothers, all the Bennett family is here. Does it make it more special to celebrate with everyone tonight?
Yes, I mean, to have all my children hug and celebrate, thank you. It's a blessing.
National champions, Denise, you gotta be excited.
And like, I'm such a Georgia fan, you know, it's like, go Dogs. I can't imagine, this has never happened. I mean, like, I was 8. I was 8 years old.
And now your son is the one that helped them do it.
Oh, that's too much. Like, that's...
So incredible. I loved how emotional Denise was. As you can imagine, I mean, she's been a Georgia fan her whole life, and now her son, a former walk-on turned starting quarterback for the Georgia Bulldogs, led them to a national championship. And it's funny because when you guys were enjoying that, the players are now walking into Sanford Stadium, and Arthur, who spent a long time in a Georgia Bulldogs uniform, said, oh, this gets me fired up. He's listening to the song that they play whenever the players walk in.
Bob O'Reilly, yeah. We would all be in the tunnel ready to go, and you hear Bob O'Reilly playing, and then we run out, and it starts playing, and we're about to have kickoff, and like Christian Robinson, who's former teammate, one of my best friends, he would always come up to me and like try to find me, and I'd like to be by myself before the game, and he would just like find me, and just basically attack me, and I would always try to like hide from him, but it's just. And again, it's those things I was saying earlier, those little things for these guys during the season that they remember the most, that they love, that they'll remember until the day they die. And with the guys they love, the brothers with these guys that they call brothers. And you hear that song, and it's like I go back 10 years ago, and I'm back in the stadium. So I'm so glad that they're enjoying another moment in Sanford Stadium to cap off this season. But as we talked earlier, there's a new mountain to climb, and they're going to start climbing Monday morning.
And it's fitting for these players to do exactly what they do on game day, to enter Sanford Stadium the way that you're talking about. And it's funny listening to you all these years later. You know, you spent some time in the NFL, but this still feels so special to you.
Oh, there's no doubt. And I mean, obviously the NFL is the pinnacle of professional football. And for the guys that can do that, for playing that league for a long time, I mean, those guys are exceptional on and off the field. But college is one of those things where there's still like a sense of like innocence to it. Yeah. Obviously, it's I mean, SEC, it's a profession. It is a profession.
NIL, all that stuff.
It is treated as such. But the pageantry, the fans, how much people care. I mean, there is something very special about it. It's not quite like high school football, but I think it means so much to the players, to the fans, to the community. So yeah, you know, of course, so many special moments. And even though we didn't win a national championship, the guys that I'm friends with today, I was in their weddings, they'll be in mine one day. You know, that's what it's all about. And you don't get those relationships necessarily in the NFL or really anywhere else in life. And I think that's what's special about it.
And before we take a break, you're a Northeastern guy, you're a Boston guy, you grew up in the Northeast. Did this make you a believer in the SEC?
Oh, yeah. Well, just because Massachusetts, in my opinion, is the birthplace of America, but that's a whole different story, different topic. The SEC, I was always a fan of the SEC. Massive college football fan growing up. One of my sisters went to Boston College. My other sister went to Dartmouth College. So, that was the big-time football for me. Yeah. I loved it every Saturday, going up to those games. But I always knew 3:30 CBS, whoever was playing, it was going to be like dog-on-dog football. You know what I mean? And for me, I never thought it was a possibility to go be part of something like this.
Yeah.
So when I started getting recruited by the Floridas, the Georgias, the Alabamas, I was like, whoa, I got to at least go take a look. And then once you get down here, you're like, oh my God, this is the real deal. Yeah. Like the facilities, the type of athlete, the coach, everything is the absolute best. The only thing that's better than it is the NFL. And so awesome experience for me to be able to play it, but to see where it continues to go. I mean, the separation that the SEC is creating between them and the next conference is becoming unfair. And it's just like, you see it in the NFL, you see it, and you're just like, they're studs. I mean, I was having a conversation with Aaron the other day, and Aaron Murray, and we were like, do you know how many Division I first round picks were on the field of that national championship game?
Oh, it's insane.
It's insane.
And 30 plus probably.
And not even just the draft eligible guys, the guys that are going to be coming up. And I think that's what makes Georgia elite. That's what makes Alabama so elite over the past years, is the ability to get those NFL-type bodies, NFL-type athletes, and then develop them. So, yeah, the SEC is second to none.
There's literally nothing like it.
There's nothing like it.
And I think we're experiencing that today. And you've seen the crowds, the masses of people that have descended upon Athens. I mean, this has just been such an unbelievable day, and you can hear the roars behind us. We're going to bring you what is inside Sanford Stadium in just a little bit, but before we do that, we're going to take a quick break. It's been an epic day so far, and right outside of Sanford Stadium just moments ago, inside Sanford Stadium, we saw Kirby Smart shaking hands with Governor Brian Kemp, who is An alumni of the University of Georgia. He's a big dog fan. Every time I see him, he is repping the Dogs and getting an opportunity to speak about the Bulldogs. So I know he's got to be really excited about today. Kirby Smart shaking hands with the governor and also the players, walking into Sanford and enjoying a sold-out crowd. This is not a Saturday in Athens that features a football game. It features a national championship celebration. And Arthur, it's funny because you can peek over our shoulder and you can just see like all the way to the tippy top. There are people crammed in every little crevice of that. This kind of feels like a game day atmosphere, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And a sea of red and black, stage on the field, so a little bit different.
Yeah.
But you know, it is somewhat of a game day, but it's a game day of, you know, commemorating an unbelievable season, an unbelievable team, and one, you know, the governor's not going to show up on the 50-yard line for many games. Yeah. So the fact that he is here, and the fact that I imagine there's a lot of other people here that aren't necessarily involved with football, but involved pretty heavily in the state of Georgia, and I think that just shows how much this means to the state.
Sure.
The one thing that I always, you know, tried to like remind myself when I was playing at UGA is you're not just representing the football team, right? You're not just representing your family, right? You're representing the University of Georgia, the Athens community, and really the state of Georgia, right? I know Georgia Tech technically has a school, and that's fine, they have a football team. But that's
Smoking
just
like a true dog.
Yeah, that's just like the engineering school, right? The flagship university of the state is UGA, and that's what this state bleeds, red and black. So I think that's why this is so special, because the entire state is celebrating today.
Let's go back to the actual team for a second, and when we look ahead, we were talking about the 7 guys that have declared for the NFL draft. There's a lot of seniors, Jordan Davis being the anchor of this defense that's now moving on, will make a ton of money in the NFL, will do great things. We're excited for him. But Kirby is a guy that has put this team, I think, into position to succeed for quite some time, and that's got to excite Dogs fans.
Yeah, I think you know, we talked about it a little bit earlier in the show, Kirby's had a plan, and he's probably had a plan for 20 plus years. It's just kind of coming to fruition in the past 5-6 years.
Yeah.
He obviously he understood what it took to build a program, having followed Nick Saban really for most of his career. And then when he had a vision to wherever he was going to get a head coaching job, it was supposed to be South Carolina. I think he may have used that leverage to get this one here. And obviously, thank God he did, because this is where he wanted to be. He's a Georgia Bulldog at heart. He's a Georgia native. He grew up here. But I think, to your point, he saw what he wanted to build, and most coaches, all coaches have a plan. Anytime they get hired as a head coach, they envision of what they want to do and how they want to get it done. They want to build a program, build a culture. It seems that he's been able to do that to a T. I don't know him, but from watching from afar, talking to guys who have played for him and that are currently playing for him, he lives, breathes, and eats Georgia football and building this program to elite status. It's currently elite right now. I think they have the potential, because of what he and his staff and this administration have been building over the course of 5-6 years, to be elite for years to come.
And I love that you're on the show today, because you were on a team that really, honestly, you probably have a different perspective than me, but you guys should have won a national championship, and you were that close. You were literally probably one play away from making it to the BCS national championship game at the time under Mark Richt, who got close so many times and never won it. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought Coach Rick up, and I texted Coach Rick on Monday night or Tuesday, and I owe him so much. I love him as a coach and as a man, and I think everyone that played for him can say the same. And I think Kirby would probably admit this as well. Rick really brought Georgia back to national prominence, right? He had a bunch of top 10 finishes, SEC championships. We were this close to going to a national championship. We would have run Notre Dame out the stadium. I have no doubt about that. And I know some of those guys that Notre Dame team, I remind them of that. It would have been much different if it was us. But we didn't. But I do think he put Georgia in such a competitive position for when it was Kirby's time. Kirby was like, okay, Georgia's already a national prominence in terms of football programs. I'm going to take this thing to the next stratosphere, and he's done that. But I do think, I texted Coach Rick and I said, Coach, I know Kirby's done an unbelievable job, but I think what you were able to do it, and you did it your way, you did it the Georgia way. There's a reason why they're champions today, and I think we owe you a lot of credit, because I don't think today happens without you having built what you did for those 10 years prior.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think there's a lot of people, players, coaches that have built the foundation, and Kirby kind of just amplified the foundation and now has started to create his own. And we've been talking about these guys that have declared for the NFL. One of the running backs, and there's many running backs Bulldogs that have come through the University of Georgia and done a fantastic job and gone on to the NFL. Now the next one will be James Cook. He's had an incredible year here at the University of Georgia, and now he's decided that the NFL, it is time.
It's just special. Just winning the national championship period is special.
James Cook's time in a Bulldogs uniform is over. After capping off the ultimate college career accomplishment in winning a national championship, he's declaring for the NFL. On his Instagram page, he wrote a departing note for Bulldog Nation, thanking the staff and the fans, and closing with 4 out.
Just coming here, I always wanted to win a national championship growing up, so we got together as brothers, and we came back for one more year. And we got the dub, and we worked hard all year.
And Cook is yet another example of top-tier running backs being produced at the University of Georgia. He returned for a senior season, and he is ecstatic that he made that decision.
Just going out with a bang with the people who I came in with is very special. We came back for a purpose, and we worked hard as older guys. We led the right way.
He played in all 15 games this season and had 6 carries for 77 rushing yards in Georgia's national championship title win. He also hopes to follow in his older brother Dalvin's footsteps, who plays for the Minnesota Vikings.
I'm just happy to be his big brother. That's it. If you meet James, he's just he's a better person than he is on the field. So I'm just happy to be his big brother, and I'm just glad, he got his outcome tonight.
What's immediately next for Cook is he has already accepted an invite to the Senior Bowl down in Mobile on February 5th.
Just seeing my brother smile and knowing what we accomplished and holding up the trophy at the end, the greatest moment ever, and you can never get it back.
Yeah, you'll never get it back, indeed. And I think that this was the cherry on top for what's been a really good career for James Cook here at the University of Georgia. And Georgia's always been known as RBU. You look at all the running backs that have come through here. But James, he made a name for himself here at Georgia. He had to be patient because you look at who he had in front of him. But then when he was able to be one of the guys that got the most touches at running back, he exploded.
Yeah, I think one thing that really separated James Cook too is his ability as a receiver. And that's going to do wonders in the NFL, because if you can't catch, you can't play in the NFL, especially at running back.
Yeah.
And, he had big shoes to fill, not only at Georgia, but in his life, right? His brother has obviously had some success. A lot of success at Florida State, and obviously in the NFL. I think he'll have similar success when he gets there. Kirby, to our point, not to belabor the point, but the reason he had to wait is because Kirby has recruited, and it's an easy position to recruit at UGA with the history that we have at that position.
Yeah.
With the likes of Todd Gurley, Sean Moreno, Keith Marshall, Nick Chubb, all of them. It's ridiculous, right? But I think James Cook, he will always be remembered a little bit differently because he was able to help a team, be a huge part of that team, win a national championship.
Yeah, and to your point, too, now Kirby is building something that other coaches, we keep talking about Nick Saban, but he's starting to build that where there's 4-star after 5-star after 4-star lined up at different positions. So sometimes you got to be patient and wait your turn. And James really took advantage of that. And he, along with the 6 other guys that are declared for the NFL, I think are going to do a great job. And now this puts that running back room in a good position to succeed as well, because they were able to learn from James.
Oh, totally. And I think we keep talking about Nick Saban because he's been able to do it so well for so long. Kirby is doing that exact same thing.
Yeah, he's on the track.
One thing that I think is very unique, and I noticed that this week because I was kind of checking the transfer portal. That's a huge, that has changed. It's free agency for college football.
Yep.
I noticed not a lot of guys are leaving Georgia to transfer, and when that shows me that these guys believe in what Kirby is doing and saying, hey, I might not be the guy right now as a freshman and sophomore, but if I buy my time, I work, I compete, I do the right things on and off the field, in the classroom, I'm going to have a chance to be very, very good. I'm going to have a chance to be an NFL player or a potential first-round pick. I just, I believe in what we're building here. That's huge, right? Because you look at a lot of other schools, even in the big-name schools, LSU, even some in Alabama, these guys are leaving Clemson. And when you have 1 or 2, it's going to happen. But when you have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys, that kind of tells me that the program might not be as strong as the external voices think they are, right? So I think that's a huge thing, and kudos to Kirby for being able to keep these guys believing, and because at the end of the day, they all want to go to the NFL. You come to Georgia to win a national championship, play at the highest level in the SEC, and go to the NFL. And I think he's got these guys believing they can do that.
And in this era of college football with NIL deals and transfer portals and so many things changing in college football right now, it's truly incredible that Kirby is doing what he's doing, and hopefully he can continue on that path to success. We're going to talk a lot more about that and show you some more features coming up, and also bring you inside the stadium as well. We'll be right back.
Everyone, it is Saturday afternoon. Snow beckons, but we're not thinking or talking about snow, at least for the next 30 minutes or so. We continue to focus in on this marvelous Georgia Bulldogs season that brought home a national championship, the first in some 40 years. A day of celebration in Athens. Kirby Smart, flanked by the Georgia State Patrol moments ago. His players now coming into Sanford Stadium, busting through the flag, busting through and making their way toward the stage. To the cheers, to the thrills, to the screams of all of those in Sanford Stadium. Never mind, there's not a football game to be played on this afternoon in January. There is a celebration that's much bigger than any game against an SEC opponent. A celebration, certainly, with Kirby Smart as the anchor leading all of the cheers. And this will go on for the next 30 or 40 minutes. We saw the president of the University of Georgia, Dr. Jerry Moorhead, was right there as well next to him. And also in attendance today, Governor Kemp, who of course is a UGA graduate and also is an Athens native. So here's what he had to say.
On behalf of the state of Georgia, all those students and fans that have walked in this campus and sat in these stands all these many years, congratulations and thank you. I would like to thank the Bulldog Nation, the many fans, President Moorhead and the University of Georgia, Josh Brooks and the athletic department, the athletic board, but especially the team, Coach Smart and the staff for a great season and your resiliency over the last 2 years during a global pandemic. I know Coach Dooley is here with us today, and it's fitting that we are on Dooley Field to proclaim Saturday, January 15th, 2022, Georgia Bulldog National Championship Day. Congratulations.
Governor Kemp, an Athens native and a product of the University of Georgia, on a joyous day for him and for everybody else in Sanford Stadium. And it's great to hear the name Vince Dooley invoked after what he has meant to the athletics program, the football program at the University of Georgia from 1963 to 1989, as he was hired by then athletics director at Georgia, Joel Eves. Coach Dooley and his wife coming from Auburn. He was an Auburn guy, and all of these years later, nobody thinks about that time at Auburn now anymore. They think about all of the great things that he has done at the University of Georgia, and at the age of 89, he was in attendance in Indianapolis, and that great photo of him with Kirby Smart on the field after the game, both of them embracing and both of them enjoying the moment, a celebration. It's so great that Coach Dooley is able to do this and able to be in Indianapolis on such a memorable night. All right, let's go back to Maria Martin right now, who is standing by or sitting by right now, along with her posse from the University of Georgia to talk about all things Bulldogs this afternoon. Guys?
Hey, Jeff, yeah, you know, one thing that you continue to talk about is Coach Vince Dooley, and I'm sad that we haven't brought him up yet, because I saw him in the tunnel after the game at the national championship game. He couldn't really talk because he had just had laryngitis, but he was really excited, obviously. He was the last head coach to win a national championship for the University of Georgia before. Now Kirby Smart will be the last one to have won a championship for the University of Georgia, and what Vince Dooley did for this program was obviously incredible. Did you ever have interactions with Coach while he was here?
Yeah, I actually did. So he still has an office on campus. So we talk about legends. You win a national championship here, you're gonna have an office somewhere on campus
forever.
I was a history major at Georgia, and I'll get to the point of why I'm mentioning this in a second. Is we had to write a senior thesis, and I wrote mine on the integration of the first African American football players at UGA and the integration of African American players into the SEC, because obviously that a majority of the players in today's SEC are African American, and I wanted to get an idea of what it was like during that time. And Vince Dooley was kind enough to sit down with me for an hour.
Wow!
And I interviewed the players that were at Georgia that helped break through the barrier for that. But I got to sit down with Vince Dooley and just kind of hear like his perspective on it and his relationships with those guys, and just it was so obvious to me why so many guys who played for him admired him and admire him to this day. My roommate and best friend from college, Ty Fricks, he snapped at UGA. His brother snapped at UGA. His dad snapped at UGA, and he was one of the annoying guys from 1980 that would always bring it up. But he played for Vince Dooley, and he would always be like, core values, the type of man he was. So obviously I'm glad that we can now talk about Kirby Smart and the 2021 Georgia Bulldogs, but everyone in the University of Georgia and the state of Georgia always held Vince Dooley in high regard because of not only of what he was able to accomplish as a football coach, but who he was as a person and who he still is as a person.
And I can imagine that he's some type of a mentor to Kirby Smart, as I'm sure other former coaches were. And what Kirby can learn from Vince Dooley is a lot of things. And the fact that he was the last to win a national championship, I'm sure he had some words for Kirby.
Oh, definitely. And there was a great shot that ESPN did when it was inevitable that they were going to win. They flashed it to Vince Dooley, and you could kind of see he was not dazing off, but like he was kind of in a trance almost, because you could tell that he was probably having flashbacks to the Sugar Bowl from 1980, and it was just kind of like life has come full circle, this feeling of affirmation, like, hey, I did it, and that was my time. I'm so glad I was able to, but thank God we've done it again, because he knows how much it means to the university, to the state, and even though he was an Auburn guy, he bleeds red and black today.
Yeah, and Jeff was talking about that just a little bit ago. No one really remembers that Auburn time now. It's just all of his time
United States
the red
Marine and an Auburn alum.
And nobody even cares because they just care. They care that he was a United States Marine, but they don't care that he had anything to do with Auburn University, because now it's all the University of Georgia. I want to get to something really special that we talked about throughout the week. To get to that point, we have to talk about this defense and what happened at the end of the game, the pick six. If you watch closely, Kirby Smart was telling Keeley to get down, because the last thing you want is for him to get tackled, the ball to pop out, and then the rest is history. We don't want any of that. But Keeley went all the way. That was such an incredible moment, I think, whenever Keeley took it to the house, game was over. What was going through your head when you saw that?
I kind of was a little bit of a state of shock because, like, we are built to be like, oh, well, here comes Alabama. They are going to rip our hearts out again. Yeah. Luckily, it didn't happen. But when he had the pick six, I was kind of thinking the opposite of Kirby. I was like, go all the way. And then, like, when he started running, I think they flashed to Kirby again.
And he was sprinting down the sideline.
And then he was sprinting, and I was like, and he said, go all the way.
Yeah.
Explicit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, heck yeah. And then of course he did. And it was such a cool way to kind of cap it off, you know what I mean? Because for the defense to make a final statement to it, and again, all kudos to the offense. You got to score points to win football games.
Yeah.
But this defense has been, it's like scary. There's times during the season where I was like worried about the well-being and health and safety of the other team. And my mom, we talk about my mom knows more football than anyone else I know. Her dad coached for 40 years.
Yeah.
She grew up watching it. She obviously watched me, and she would call me. She was like, I'm worried about some of the other players on the other teams. I was like, this defense is unbelievable. I was like, Mom, I've never seen anything like it. And, to me, will they ever have as good a defense? I'm sure they'll try. Who knows? But Kirby's recruiting in ways that they'll be able to. But God, man, that Jordan Davis, that front seven, Dean, kudos to them. Unbelievable defense, and the way they finished it off, it was the right way to do it.
And it certainly helps that Kirby Smart is a defensive-minded guy, obviously, as well. And one of the things, too, the first touchdown of the year by Georgia was a defensive touchdown. The last touchdown of the year was a defensive touchdown by none other than Keeley Ringo. We were talking about them with the pick six to seal the national championship game. What's really cool about Keeley is his relationship with his mom, Trlee. She's had breast cancer. She was diagnosed with it in 2020, and she's had a very difficult journey to get to Indianapolis in the national championship. She was kind enough to sit down with me and share her story and her relationship with her son, and to cap it all off, that pick six moment.
Whatever it is that I have to do to see my son on the field and be great is what I'm going to go through.
You might recognize Trlee Hale from her strong social media following among Bulldog Nation.
Hey, good morning, Bulldog family. I'm on my way out the door to meet y'all in Indy.
Her son Keeley is a redshirt freshman defensive back for the Dogs, and nothing made mom happier than moving to Athens to be with her son.
As an empty nester, I wanted to follow behind my son. Besides that, I didn't want to miss a football game, and my intentions were to pack up and follow him, but COVID and cancer had a different story.
As a single mom, Truly put off regular doctor visits until Keely went off to college. When she finally went to her doctor, she was told she had stage 2 ductal carcinoma.
That is a very aggressive form of cancer. Thought to myself, it's not cancer, whatever that little mass is, it's not cancer. I was in complete denial.
It has been a difficult journey, but with Keely by her side, Truly has remained positive and vibrant with a passion to help other women.
Joining with Bulldogs Battling Breast Cancer allowed me the platform to tell my story, and Bulldogs Battling Breast Cancer actually raises money in the area, and all of that money goes to the hospital, and it allows women who are less fortunate to be able to receive mammograms and care and prevention and education.
Truly is absolutely loving every second of watching her son play in a Bulldogs uniform. She even got to see his first career interception against UAB earlier this season.
It's surreal. It's literally unbelievable. I have watched this young man grow and develop. He is not just a DB. He's not just a part of the secondary. He is a student of the game.
And there is no other place in the world she would rather be than Athens, Georgia. Say hello.
Hey, man. The Bulldog Nation has been such a support system. They don't even realize they've gotten me through some hard weeks.
Such an incredible story, and the relationship between these two is unmatched. I was so grateful that Truly was able to sit down with me. She is here today. She is always by her son. She moved here to Athens permanently to continue her treatment, and it's just been a really amazing journey to watch them celebrate this season of life together and to continue her journey with cancer. We're praying for you. We're cheering for you, Truly, and this has also been such an exciting day for so many reasons, and not just for Keely Ringo, his mom, and for all these teammates and players, but for head coach Kirby Smart. We've been talking about him all day, and moments ago inside Sanford Stadium, he addressed Bulldog Nation and his teammates about the national championship win in Indianapolis.
Being here today on Dooley Field brings back a lot of special memories for me. But as our players sit to my left and right, all these guys over here and all these guys over here, what you 95,000, 100,000 people don't get to see is these guys in here at 6 a.m. about a year ago this time, running on this field, sweating, blood, tears. Before we came out today, the first thing a lot of these guys were thinking about is how much work they did in this stadium in the morning. And I want to give these guys a round of applause for all they've done for this university. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Stand up.
So we've been talking about that specifically all day. Kirby Smart talking about the hard workouts at 6 a.m. inside Sanford Stadium, looking around on Dooley Field. You remember those workouts. Those stick out in your mind. So when we're talking about the championship, that's the groundwork, the foundation that is laid to win a championship.
Totally. You know, for Coach Rick, it was something called mat drills. And the mat drills were at the Ramsey Center to begin with. And that was a 4 a.m. wake up. You're up, and you start walking over as a zombie, and that starts in January. And what people don't really truly understand is, you know, you're up at 6 every single day, and there's times where you're not getting home till 12 or 1 a.m. because you don't get to start your schoolwork until 8 o'clock because you got to check into meals, you got to go to film, rehab, study hall, all this different stuff. And Kirby's right? And yes, the championship is the prize of all that hard work, right? It's the reward. It's what they've been working towards. But all those little things that they've had to go and do throughout the season, right? Winter workouts, spring practice, fights with teammates during practice, which I know it happens, right? And you're just sitting there day in and day out, sweating. Getting guys who get hurt have to rehab and come back. There's so many little things that these guys have to do in order to just have a chance to play for a national championship, because they have to compete week in and week out in the hardest conference in America, hardest conference in college football. And so for them to sit there as champions, knowing all that they had to do from last January until now, it's pretty special. And Kirby knows better than anyone else because Kirby was a player. And I think that's why it's special for him.
Yeah, I'm sure the memories flooding through his mind as he's looking around
Totally.
like, oh my gosh, I was in this uniform. I was now a head coach that won a national championship game. It's got to be so special. And like Arthur talked about, just to have a chance at a national championship with those 6 a.m. workouts and working 365 days a year to make sure that you can have a chance to win a national title. Now the Bulldogs are national champions. We'll continue our championship from Athens right after this break.
Well, the Bulldog party beginning to wind down just a little bit, but it began around noon on Lumpkin Street near the Vince Dooley Athletic Complex. It continued toward the Tate Center, where there was a dog walk, including players and coaches and staff, into Sanford Stadium and marvelous BMWs. Oh, yes, and great Ford trucks as well. How does it get better than that? Law enforcement said the crowds were huge today, all along the route, and you can see it there from high above the celebration. Some of the pictures of Kirby Smart celebrating in the back of a Ford truck is something to see. We've got some of those pictures on 11alive.com right now. But what a day to remember, a day to celebrate. Ceremony beginning to wind down a little bit inside Sanford Stadium, and seeing these pictures of Kirby Smart. You know, much has been made about Smart being a Georgia boy, grows up, son of a coach, and plays at the University of Georgia between 1995 and 1998. I interviewed him a couple of times. Georgia would invite media down on the early part of the week, and you would get an opportunity to talk with a couple of players. And I do remember Kirby Smart as being this sort of no-nonsense figure. You know, you see him now with a great emotion, but when he dealt with us local guys, you know, a quarter of a century ago, it was different. He was just, man, he was rigid. He was no-nonsense. Even when the camera wasn't rolling, you know, you would try to kind of exchange pleasantries with him. He was right on message. And that's what it takes to be not only a successful player, certainly in the SEC at that level, but also when you take a look at his coaching career, the 11 years with Nick Saban. Much has been made of that, and rightfully so, but the roots of his raisin run deep in this state, and that makes today even more special. Here's Kirby Smart inside Sanford Stadium a short time ago, speaking with the huddled masses on this cold January day.
4 captains you'll be remembered forever for this team, voted on by their peers: Jordan Davis, Jamari, Zamir, Nakobe, special leaders. The thing that will resonate with me and I'll remember the most is there was no defined one leader. And I've heard people say that. I never understood it. There was not one leader. There really wasn't four leaders. There were a bunch of leaders on this team. But for those four guys to get named captain, it's really special. A tremendous honor to coach a group that was as connected as this group was. So it's also important to look forward, challenge the remaining new players that are arriving, new players that are remaining with our team, that a new standard of excellence has been set. Excellence in leadership, excellence moving forward. We expect them to hold that same standard for a long time to come at UGA.
This team in the decades ahead will always be bonded together, not only with each other and with the athletic program at the University of Georgia, but the state as well. There will always be a memory, celebration of the 2021 team at a Georgia football game. 40 or 50 years from now, they will be introduced, and those who have not yet been born will be standing and saluting them in that Sanford Stadium, remembering when they won the national championship in January of 2022. It is perpetuity when you talk about championships, and they will never, ever be forgotten. And that is the difference between, you know, what happened in 2017 and what happened with this team. They were so close to getting a championship inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and Alabama with Tua able to find a way to get that victory. That team will always be seen as great, but certainly will not be a team that will be mentioned and celebrated for the generations to come. So here we are, about 8 or 9 minutes in front of 3 o'clock when all of this officially wraps up, but in the hearts and minds of Georgia fans everywhere in the state and region, and for that matter around the country, the celebration is nowhere near complete. It will be going on not only this weekend, but for a lot of weekends to come. So let's go back to Maria Martin, who is outside Sanford Stadium right now.
Jeff, yeah, you talk about how the celebrations will continue throughout the weekend and for weeks to come. I promise you, all of the people that are walking past my shop right now are headed to downtown Athens to continue the celebrations. This has been an unbelievable day, as it should be. A drought that people have waited multiple decades for is now over. The Bulldogs are national champions, and you felt every sense of that in everyone that we met and saw today. Back with me now to recap and to look ahead to the future of this next Bulldogs team is former Georgia tight end Arthur Lynch, who's been hanging with us for the last several hours. And Arthur, as you look at this team that was incredibly stacked, obviously, that has people moving on to the NFL, seniors graduating, they're in place, though, to make a very good run. Where do you see, I'm going to ask you specifically, the future of this offense going for the Georgia Bulldogs?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the offense, because I think that could actually be a really strong point for the next year. And I know at times this year we relied heavily on our defense. I think there's a lot of guys returning. Obviously, we got to talk about the tight ends. I'm a little biased, obviously.
I know, I haven't brought it up. I feel bad a little bit.
But this kid Bowers is something special.
Unbelievable.
I've never really seen anything quite like it at the college level. Obviously, you see some guys in the NFL and I think because Monken has an NFL pedigree, he was able to kind of recreate that.
And a true freshman this year.
Yeah, which is, I mean, he broke every single record, tight end record, career record in one season. And, you know, I think when you have guys like him, Washington, and Fitzpatrick, you know, someone said that Fitzpatrick, his eligibility is up, but I thought he had one more year. Either way, you have three guys like that. And then obviously a returning quarterback, offensive line, a lot of guys coming back. I think that could be really the strength of Georgia's football team going into next year. The thing about Kirby Smart and that defense is they set such a high standard for each other that the guys who are in the waiting right behind the guys that are leaving, I think they're going to fill in just fine. So I do think the defense will still be a top 5, top 10 defense nationally.
Yeah.
But I do think the offense has a really cool opportunity to do a lot of different things that they may have not done this year.
Sure.
I think they'll air it out a little bit more, but I do think that this football team has the makings and has enough talent on the current roster and roster coming in with these new recruits from the signing class to be pretty dangerous again next year.
And not to beat a dead horse here, but when we continue to talk about Nick Saban, when you're successful in college football, you have support staff that leaves. it is possible that Todd Monken does take another job. There's been rumors of him potentially leaving for the NFL. As you change coordinators, which is what Kirby Smart is going to have to do, give me a real quick answer here because we got to get to some sound too. But when you have coordinators that potentially leave, does that change a whole lot?
It certainly changes, but as long as the head guy is in place, he sets the standard. It's his program. There's a culture that's kind of built into it. So I think they'll find a guy, assuming Monken leaves, they'll interview guys. They already have Muschamp in place, which will be huge. Love Muschamp, by the way. He's hilarious. I think they'll be just fine. I would definitely want to hire a guy that uses tight ends like Monken because of the talent they have in that tight end room.
And who knows, maybe Monken hangs around. We'll see. And we've been talking about this defense all day long. Moments ago, the anchor of the defense, Jordan Davis, spoke to Bulldog Nation.
It's everything. Kid from Charlotte, North Carolina, not that big of a recruit, feeling a little nervous coming in. Dawg Nation embraced me with open arms. And for that, I'm forever thankful, forever grateful. And this is something that nobody can take away from us. We're forever legendary. So to all Dawg Nation, we love you. Go Braves and go Dogs.
I'm sorry, I'm saying hello to a dog off camera. I got a little distracted. Jordan Davis, that was epic because it's funny. People I think are getting a little bit spoiled. 2 championship parades in 2 months. Jordan Davis and an ode to the Braves. I love it.
Yeah, he knows how to play at the heartstrings of the Georgia faithful, right? He might be running for governor one day, so I hope he got a conversation with Kemp. I know there's probably a lot of guys on this roster from 2021 National Championship Georgia who probably get into politics. I'm telling you right now, if Stetson runs for anything in a couple years, he's winning. He doesn't have to have any agenda, any policy or anything. He'll win. But yeah, Jordan Davis has been a fan favorite. The one thing that I love about that guy is how well spoken he is and how soft spoken he is. You look at him and you're like, this guy should be in a movie somewhere.
Oh yeah.
But articulate, smart, obviously raised incredibly well by his parents. So he knows what he's doing with the Braves jersey. Getting
ready to make a lot of money in the NFL. He's going to hopefully have an incredible and long career as we continue to look to the future of the Georgia Bulldogs. Alabama's been at the upper echelon of college football for quite some time. Nick Saban didn't take him long to build that standard when he got to Tuscaloosa. I don't think it's taken Kirby Smart very long either to build that standard here. Now the Dogs are on top. Do they stay there?
I believe they have a very good opportunity to stay at that elite level, at this elite level for a very long time. He's building a program that's going to allow them to do that. Obviously, as a former player, I know how hard it is to. I never got there. That's why I know how hard it is to get there.
Sure.
So I don't want to fill the Georgia faithful's minds with, hey, we're going to win.
Can't do that.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, if you're a Georgia fan, you got to feel comfortable at where this program is because of what they've been able to accomplish thus far and what they're going to continue to accomplish moving forward. And again, at the end of the day in college football, it comes down to recruiting. And this guy can recruit.
Yep.
And that's what it takes to win. Get the players on campus, develop them, make them believe in the culture, what you're building, what he has done, and what he will continue to do. So yeah, I think they could be very good for a very long time.
And it's funny, I've been a lot of coaches now. I've been around a lot of coaches to this point. You've certainly been around a lot of college coaches. I think Kirby is wired differently than anyone I've ever met, and I think part of that comes from the Nick Saban coaching tree. Part of that comes from former coaches that he's had to learn from. He recruits like no one I have ever seen before. I think he's got a bright future here. Real quick answer from you.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, the unique thing that he's done is get all these guys to come to Georgia while competing with the Alabamas, the Texas A&Ms, the LSUs. The one thing I love about the SEC, though, Coach Kelly from Notre Dame at LSU, what Jimbo's doing at Texas A&M, the league is only getting better. And I think it's going to be an incredibly tough road for anybody to get to the national championship from the SEC. But my money is on another 2-team national championship game of SEC teams. Hopefully one of them is Georgia. But yeah, this league is built to be successful for years to come.
And I think that should be very exciting for Georgia Bulldogs fans. For Arthur Lynch, I appreciate you hanging with me for 3 hours.
Absolutely,
really do. A former Georgia tight end giving you all the perspective. Jeff, it's been an unbelievable day of celebrations here in Athens. I can't believe the celebrations are coming to an end, but I have a feeling these people will be celebrating for quite a long time.
Here we can We can count on a lot of shirts, a lot of hats, and a lot of beverages being hoisted in honor of Kirby Smart and his Georgia Bulldogs in 2021. That has now stretched into 2022. And as Kirby had mentioned, it all began just about a year ago at this time in January, and it will begin in the days ahead as his team now begins their defense of the national championship. There is Kirby Smart along the parade route. Is this a cerebral figure? I think not. This is a man in full. This is a man enjoying the spoils of victory and the emotion, the enthusiasm, and what a day and what a night it will be. For our entire team, I'm Jeff Hullinger. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Don't forget we got you covered on the weather front as well. 11alive.com.